that it, series? We live?
Yeah, we are live. Sorry, I'm
Hello,
not
everybody.
series, but
Tonight we have a special guest. We have Dave. What do you like to be called, Dave? Because there's about 3 names for you.
Well, I usually go by allegedly.
Yeah, I can't help putting that one. I put allegedly on the title. We have allegedly Dave with us. Now we have Billy from America. We have Dee and Patricia from the UK. Series, obviously, you know, he's my group partner from Holland. And me, I'm from the UK. So, you were on the bigger hangout with us a few weeks ago, which everybody loved and had some very back from that. And then there was like, oh, I wish Dave was coming back. You know, you've got this, I want them to come back. I want them to come back. But on that hangout, you suddenly came out with the fact that you had learnt a different descent in the Irish people, and that there's been a big mistake, that actually the original Irish people were black.
Well, I have to apologise because I'm only hearing like 30% of what you're saying. You're kind of cutting out.
Oh.
Yeah, your connection is not that there, it seems. So far, I'm getting everything.
Is everything all right then? I was just saying, Dave, that you have found out the original Irish people's descent, and that the original Irish people were black people.
Yep, that's right. I've been researching this for 3 years. It all came out of the flat Earth research, actually. You know, once I started looking at the flat Earth and realised that we're in a created place, and there has to be obviously a creator of that created place. So I started looking at the Bible and history, and what I was finding was that the Bible stories were actually synchronizing with the history that I was looking at. So an example was I was looking at the Iliad. I had the Iliad open while I was reading the Bible, and I started noticing that the names were starting to match up. So it turns out that there was the son of Judah, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, the son of Judah. His name was Zara. Him and his descendants decided to basically leave the other Israelites and travel the world and explore. A group of Danites. And they just basically spread out everywhere, just exploring. One of these descendants of Zara went further into Africa, and if you look at some old maps, like maps from 1700s, what's known as the Sahara Desert is actually written as Kingdom of Zara, or the desert. So that's where we get the name Sahara from.
Ah, all right.
Right, okay.
So yeah, they one group spread that way. Another group actually went across Turkey, and the person there was named Dada. Okay, if you look at the genealogy, you'll find him, I think, grandson or great grandson of Judah.
Right.
And the practice at the time was to name somewhere after yourself. So you can follow it. The place he left was called the Dardanelles. It's still called that today, I think. And so he went across there, went to across bottom of Turkey, and then into, well, I was trying to say into Greece, but he didn't actually go all the way to Greece. But his descendants founded the city of Troy. So the Trojans were black Hebrew Israelites. It also turns out that the Spartans were actually black Hebrew Israelites too, because you can look in the book of Maccabees, and it will tell you in there that you know, the people in the Holy Land, people in Jerusalem, actually wrote a letter to, they were called the Lacedaemonians back then.
Right.
So they wrote a letter to the Lacedaemonians saying, "Look, we're brothers. You know, let's maintain a pact between the two of us." So this king Lacedaemon named the place after his wife Sparta. So they were the Spartans. The reason I'm talking about you know, the Greeks and the Trojans
Got to
is
get
that
there before you get to Ireland.
Britain
Yeah.
was actually founded by a Trojan prince, Brito, which was anglicised to Brutus,
Right.
landed in England in 1103 BC, and you can go to a place in Totnes. It's I think it's 4th Street in Totnes, and you can actually see the Brutus stone, which is the first stone he stepped on.
Oops, that was Yudit joining. Hello, Yudit. Off now. She just had her mic on and she had something on in the background. Sorry, Dave. Carry on.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Yudit.
Shall I continue? I don't know.
Yes,
if
please.
I'm talking too much. All right. Well, yeah. So he landed in 1103 BC, and the accounts say that he encountered a land full of red-headed giants, and these giants overran the land, and so they set out killing off all these giants, and they killed all of them except the brother of the king of the giants. Okay, the king of the giants was called Albion, and again, you know.
So why didn't they kill him then?
Okay, I'm getting to that.
Oh, sorry. Carry on. I'll let you talk.
King of the Giants was called Albion, and obviously they, again, the custom was to name a place after yourself, so that's why this country is called Albion, after this this giant. The brother of Albion was Gog Magog, and they left him alive because one of Brito's men wanted to fight him. So this guy called Quirinius wanted to fight this giant. I think he was about 18 foot tall. And so this guy wanted to fight this giant. So they left this one giant alive so they could have this this epic battle. And they had this fight on what's known now as Plymouth Hoe.
Right.
You know, this battle was described in a couple of places. And Quirinius ended up throwing this giant over the cliff, and he died on the rocks. So the place where this happened was called Lam Go Mago, which is Giant's Leap, or Gog Magog's Leap, and it was renamed Plymouth Hoe. I think up until the 17th century, there was one of those, you know, chalk drawings in the hill of two giants, one giant and one smaller person. That was
I heard about that, actually. I live in Plymouth, Dave, and there's actually a pub called Gog Magog. So there is still.
So this is the thing about history. They can change.
Oh, what's happened? Hello? Sorry, you got a bit of it. There was a glitch then.
Yeah.
Carry on, Dave.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing about history. They can try and change it as much as they like, but things like place names just don't die. Names of things just can't get rid of. The example I'll give is that I moved to America with my son. He was about 18 months old at the time, and I could never get into calling Snickers bars or marathons Snickers bars. So I'd always call it a marathon. Yeah. So my son, who grew up in America, had never seen a marathon. Right? He called it a marathon, even though he'd never seen a marathon. Just knew it as Snickers. He called it a marathon. So names and things do not change. They can't get rid of them. So there'll always be the odd little reference to tell you what the truth was of history, even though the actual history has been rewritten and fabricated. So
It seems a lot of the folklores were real after all.
that's the thing. There's a lot of folklore, a lot of myth. You know, we're starting to find out that all these myths of dragons and fairies and elves and vampires and stuff, well, to all those things. Yeah. It's just that we've been brainwashed. I mean, Disney has got a lot to do. Those who change the image of these entities as being sort of cutesy little happy little things, but they're not. They're all sort of dark and mysterious and evil entities. But Disney made them all cutesy, and so we forgot about them. But these things, you know, did exist, just like centaurs and minotaurs and things. You know, we're starting to find that there's evidence for that, for those things that's been covered up. So what was I? I was in. Oh yeah. So basically, Quirinius, he killed the giant.
Right.
He was given a piece of land for him and his men to settle in, and that was Cornwall. So Cornwall actually, I think there's a link between the name. I haven't got my notes with me, so I can't remember everything. But Quirinius or Cornwall came from Quirinius, who actually settled there. So England essentially was populated by Trojans, and Brito actually established what's known as London now as the capital city, but he called it Troia Nova, which really actually means New Troy, you know. And again, the evidence for that is that one of the tribes, that area, were called the Trinovantes, which again, you know, Noventi means new. So it's saying new Trojans. So that was England essentially, and when they got there, they were actually met by Welshmen who were also Israelites, because the Welshmen regard. So I think that's from.
Yeah, can I say something? It's true though, because the Welsh language is one of the oldest languages, isn't it? And it's nothing like the others.
It's nothing like the Germanic languages, because the Welsh language is descended from the Hebrew as well. The Welsh, okay, their story is that they left the Holy Land. They were called the Cimmerians or Cimmerians or the Cymry, and they actually went across northern Europe, ended up in a place called Jutland, which is, I think it's like Germany, Holland-ish way, and they got chased out of there by the red-headed giants, the barbarians, and they went across the sea to England, and the barbarians followed them basically and chased them all the way to the west, and the Cymry, well, in their own language, it's Cymru. It's the same thing. It's they've kept their name, right? It's Welsh in the Welsh language. Yeah, so the Cymry became the Welsh. Now, there was another group of Israelites. I think they were again, I haven't got my notes. They went across southern Europe and ended up in a place they called after themselves. They called themselves the Iber.
Right.
Now, in Hebrew, the vowels are interchangeable. Yeah, so they could call themselves the Eber, the Iber, the Heber. You know, it just, you know, they didn't have vowels in their language, so when we translate it, we put vowels in there. So these Iber, they ended up in a place that they named the Iberian Peninsula. Okay, then they got chased out of the Iberian Peninsula, and they went across the sea to found another country called Hibernia. Okay,
Right.
literally in Hebrew, land of the Hebrews. So the Hebrews there, some of them actually went on to found another country. Name that survives that gives a clue is Hebrides. So Iberia, Hibernia, Hebrides. So you can see the journey there. Now it's very sort of simplistic to say that was okay. That's definitively who they are, because there's been sort of waves of invasions and stuff. In fact, one of the first people who's supposed to be there, again, Hebrew Israelites, the tribe of Dan. I think it's Tuatha de Danann or something.
Right.
But the key point is that the royal bloodline of Judah, which was the Zara side of it, ended up in Ireland, because you can actually go and find the, I think it's the Ulster flag.
Yeah.
Flag. You'll see a red hand, a crown, and a Star of David, which shouldn't be there, but anyway. But the red hand signifies Zara. Straight out of the Bible, is that when Zara was a twin with his brother Phares, and before they were born, Zara basically stuck his hand out, and the midwife basically tied a thread around hand, a scarlet thread, so that they'd know it was a firstborn. And then Zara pulled his hand back in, and Phares was born first. So he wasn't actually the firstborn son. Ever since then, he was known as Red Hand. So you can find evidence of the Red Hand in Ireland and Scotland, and later on, and the other branch of the of Judah ended up Scotland via France, and that was the Stuart line. Okay, so it was King James who, when he took the throne, he was King James VI of Scotland and the first of England. He took the throne. He basically reunited all the tribes of Judah, in the British Isles and France, actually. So if you get the picture here, England was populated with some Hebrew Israelite tribes, as well as some Germanic tribes. Okay, so it was a mix of white and black, Germanic and Hebrew Israelite. Some of the evidence for that is the Yorkshire Moors, for instance. That was never a place, that was a people. Okay, wherever you see moors or moorlands or things like that, it's telling you these are the lands where black people lived, because the word Moor, basically it's been retroactively applied to black people, even though Moors came later. That name was actually retroactively applied. So wherever you see Moor, yeah, even in names, yeah, Moor, Moir, Moorland, any name like that, you can bet there was a black ancestor there. So yeah, England had mixed tribes. Scotland was mostly Hebrew Israelite in the Highlands, and there was Germanic tribes in the Lowlands, and Ireland was purely Hebrew Israelite. And when King James took the throne, he basically reunited all those tribes, and that's where we got the United Kingdom. And the Union Jack is actually the reunification of Jacob. That's what it means. It's all biblical.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, that's why there's supposedly the Stone of Destiny, which is the stone that Jacob laid his head down on when he wrestled with an angel, that stone is supposedly under the throne of England. You know, what's it doing here? You know, because this was basically the New Jerusalem, essentially, and that was instituted by King James, reuniting all the tribes. And it turns out that the gunpowder plot that everybody sort of you know, views as a heroic act actually was the Roman Catholic Church trying to assassinate King James. It got nothing to do with with Parliament. You know, it was an attempt to assassinate King James, who was getting the Bible translated away from the Latin and Greek into English, and the Vatican didn't want, you know, anybody to be able to read it apart from them, essentially. So that was their attempt to actually stop that happening. So the line of the Stuarts lasted until, I think it's Charles II, where basically these Vatican agents, or let's step back, not Vatican, these Ashkenazi agents basically had him beheaded, put an Ashkenazi bloodline on the throne. And as soon as they took over, the first thing they did was start attacking the Scottish and the Irish, and basically a ethnic cleansing, you know, operation. Basically, they killed or castrated or transported everybody who was black out of the country, out to the West Indies, Barbados and Jamaica, and yeah, I was kind of well, let's step back a second. About 3 years ago, when I first started looking at this, I had no idea that the Irish were anything other than white, normal white people. But I always wondered when you know, I heard my dad speak. He's from Barbados, and he's got a strange Irish accent. It's very weird, you know, if you hear him. He's got an Irish accent. It's obviously West Indian, but you can hear the Irish in it. And he would say Irish sayings like "at all," you know, and
Right.
and I could never understand. Also, when he told me that when he first got here, that he would see signs saying "no blacks, no dogs, no Irish." And I was thinking, well, why are the Irish being treated the same way, you know? But I just recently got the last piece of evidence to that basically definitively proves that the Irish were originally black people. It was in a book called "Whence the Black Irish in Jamaica" by, I think it's Joseph R. Williams or something. I can't remember. So in this book, he says that he was a reverend, and he was living in Jamaica, and he could never understand why the Negroes in Jamaica were very different from all the other ones that he'd ever come across, and he'd lived, you know, many other places around the world. They were very different, and they also had these pure Irish names. Now, the custom was that slaves would take on the names of their owners. Yeah, so so that would sort of give you a nice explanation of that. But what he found was that when he looked at the land registry, there was nobody who owned land in Jamaica with those Irish names. He couldn't find any of these Irish names in the land registry at all. So these slaves didn't get their names from their owners. So he ended up looking at the records from Oliver Cromwell's campaign against the Irish, and the records of the people he deported, and he found all the names. So these were not slaves, originally slaves. These were deported Irish people. So that was like a, that was like a eureka moment, when I found that. But the reason why it's difficult to see this is that it literally only takes 3 generations to get rid of the color. You never actually get rid of the DNA, but you can get rid of the color in 3 generations. So once all the men were actually transported or murdered or whatever, these Ashkenazi Germanics basically raped the women, and basically they lightened over 3 or 4 generations. And what was really great was as I was finding stuff like this out, there was a BBC program called I think it's Black and British or something, and there was a sequence in it about a black guy called Francis Barber who lived in the 1700s, and it showed this portrait of this guy, and then this white guy got in front of the portrait and said, yeah, Francis had a son called Enoch, and Enoch had a son called Edward, and Edward had a son called Norman, and Norman had a son called Cedric, and that's me. And this guy who could look like any white guy walking down the street, was just telling you that he was actually descended from a black guy. And that's what happened to the remaining black people that were left in these lands. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and so
there were white people as well then, or just black? How you said 3 generations to lose the color?
Mm-hmm.
So there must be. What does that mean then?
That means that Oliver Cromwell and his men basically attacked Ireland, killed all the men, transported them to the West Indies, and then raped all the women, basically. And literally the population had no choice, basically, but to get lighter and lighter.
Right. Or move? Did they move?
Who?
The original Irish people then, or they just got slaughtered, basically?
They got slaughtered or transported to the West Indies.
Right.
Essentially, and that's it. I mean, again, you can still hear a myth or a pointer to it when people talk about the Black Irish. Now it's been changed to, oh, he's got dark hair or brown eyes, but that's not it. I was actually looking at a book. I think it was the Directory's Scottish biography. I can't remember what it is. But I was looking at this book, and it was describing all the noblemen in Scotland and Ireland. And yeah, I think it was the British Isles, so there was some English noblemen as well. And it was describing this tall black man called Michael Murphy, which is my brother's name. So could well be that that was one of my ancestors.
Had you, when you came on that other hangout a couple of, I suppose it's a week and a half ago, had you just found all this information out because you were a bit not shocked, but you started telling us, and then I said, oh, would you come back and explain more? So had you just learnt all this? No,
it was the last thing, the reference in the book that was the final proof. That was a shocking thing for me. That was the newest thing for me. So the rest of it I'd found out, but I needed that last piece because a lot of the things I was finding could be argued against or disputed, but this couldn't be.
So have you sort of gone as far as you want to go on it now, or are you going to keep researching this? Because it's all about, you realise that it's all to do with land, and these people, their names didn't come off someone else's land, came off their own land.
Well, their names didn't come from slavery. That was the point. Their names didn't come from slavery. They were the original names that they had when they were in Ireland. and that's where their names came from. It wasn't because they were slaves. So you know, it's just like if you you grabbed a whole load of you know, English people right now and took them over to you know, Barbados or something, and you know, left them for a few generations, and you'd find all these black people with these names, and well, where do they get the names? Well, they were original names from when they went over there. So it was a great experience to find this out, because
Another
you know,
piece of a puzzle.
yeah, but the thing is, it's not something I'm going to keep sort of you know, sort of researching, because what I've learned over the years of researching stuff is that you know, finding out stuff isn't the end of the you know, the end of it. It's just a stop along the journey. So
It's usually the beginning of it or something else, isn't it?
yes, exactly, because it's you know, you what you need to do, and this goes with everything else, like flat Earth, for instance. The point of finding these things out is to learn what you need to learn from it, and then move on, because you know, there's bound to be.
Well, when you talk about all these people moving, it sounds like all these people were kind of fleeing away at times. Everybody's fleeing all the time.
Well, this wasn't, in this case, it wasn't fleeing. It was
Taken
being
over.
transported. There was a lot of people running away, and they ran straight to America. And America seems to have been, well, not seems to have been. It was basically them concentrating all these Israelites together to basically exterminate them. That's the idea. Well, there was more to it actually, but that's what it's essentially you know, sort of heading towards.
It's really bad, isn't it, that none of this is in our history books like that, that you've got to find this information out. It is somewhere, but it's just not in the mainstream for you to...
Yeah, because the real story is, it wasn't, the transatlantic slave trade wasn't all from Africa. It was there was only a very small number of people who went from Africa to America. The bulk of the people came from Europe, as it turned out. And where I found that from was a quote by Benjamin Franklin. He did an essay in 1751, and he basically says that you know, he's complaining that there are all these Germans coming over, and he wants to keep America white, and he doesn't like all these black Germans coming in and sort of darkening the country. So
if that was the case, how come, just asking is, I don't like asking these kind of questions, but how come you're still black, if you know what I mean? How come you didn't go white then? How come your skin didn't change? Because your name is Irish, isn't it?
yes, it is. Now, when I first started finding this stuff out, now I immediately thought, well, I can't be a Hebrew Israelite, because you know, obviously the name Murphy, it's like, well, that came from a Germanic, and you know, but then I started to realize that the Irish were black people, and in my own personal history, it turns out that the Murphy comes from my dad's mother. She wanted to keep the Murphy name, so she named one of her sons Murphy, and the rest of the sons she named, you know, her married name. So one that was named Murphy was my dad. So so he, you know, the paternal line to the Israelites is still there. I've just got a little Irish in there. A little Germanic white Irish in there, yeah.
How does all that make you feel when you find out the history is all different? You find out a bit more of your like ancestry that isn't known really, like, you know, how does that make you feel then?
Well, Well, when growing up in this country, I've always felt like, an outsider, and someone who didn't quite belong in this strange land where, not quite welcome. But finding this stuff out makes me realise that I'm not like a stranger coming into this. I'm actually a returnee, coming back to the land of my ancestors were exiled from. So yeah, it's been quite a great journey actually. So I don't. Again, I'm about finding the truth wherever that might lead. And as I said, when I first found this stuff out, I didn't think it actually applied to me directly, because I thought, well, my bloodline, my lineage is somewhere else. But I am quite pleased to know that my bloodline is Hebrew Israelite. Sometimes
it's better to find out that way, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, if it wasn't the case, and I wasn't part of this bloodline, I'd still be talking exactly the way I am now, because it's the truth.
Does anybody on the panel have anything to ask Dave about what he's just been talking about?
Oh, yeah, but very interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's all right, Billy. Go on.
No, I was just saying I'm very intrigued. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I think the people in chat are enjoying it as well. So
cool. That's good.
Dave, somebody asked earlier on, they want to know what kind of toothpaste you use. I just said I'd pass it on.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's eau de toilette.
And also, Dave, what colour are actually your eyes? Because you have the most amazing eyes.
They're hazel. That's the Irish bit in me, because
I thought you said that last time. But then they actually look really quite blue.
Oh no. No. They do change from hazel to green sometimes, apparently. But my sister actually had blue eyes. For I think she's still got flecks of blue in her eyes now. But yeah, it does look like that. I'm looking at my picture now. It does look like I've got blue eyes.
Patricia, what did you want to say?
You know me, I'm quite a simple person, and I've not really followed history or anything like that. I've not been indoctrinated because I didn't bother going to school. Anyway, my question was, I prefer to hear it from a person than actually read about it. So I was just wondering, why was there black and white people on this earth originally?
Okay. This is going to be a difficult thing to accept here. In Genesis 6, there's an event that's basically only 2 lines in the Bible. Okay, but it's very strange, and most religions kind of just gloss over it and say ignore that. It tells of angels coming down and having sex with women. Okay. Now, the religions have given different interpretations of it, but basically if you go into the book of Enoch and Jasher, it gives you lots and lots and lots of detail about this event. And what happened was these angels came down, had sex with women, and their offspring were very different from humans. Okay. They were, the first generation were giants. Literally, the first generation grew to about 450 foot tall. As amazing as that might sound. But the parallel to that is in the Greek mythology, these 450 foot tall giants were called the Titans. Yeah. So that story, the grain of truth in that story actually got passed to the Greeks as well. So as these Nephilim, as they're called, these Nephilim mixed more with humanity, their bloodline was watered down. So the giantism, they started shrinking as the generations got on, and the genetics, which again were very different from humanity's, got watered down. So some of the genetic traits of these Nephilim were giantism, 6 fingers and toes, 2 rows of teeth. Rh negative blood. So does everybody know what Rh negative blood is about?
Is that the 2 rows of teeth when those giants have about 80 teeth?
No, I don't know about that, but literally 2. Well, they would have about 80 teeth. But literally 2 rows of teeth, one behind the other, on top and bottom, apparently. And even today, some people are still born with 2 rows of teeth.
And 6 fingers and 6 toes.
And yes, and that's quite relatively common, actually. Now, Rh negative blood is interesting because what it is a lack of a protein coating on the red blood cells. So you have the blood types, you know, A, B, B, O, but you also get this positive and negative factor, yeah. And the negative is a lack of a protein coating on the blood cells, yeah. Now, interestingly, only 15% of humanity have this Rh negative. They don't have this coating on their blood. But every animal in you know on this earth has this protein coating. It's only 15% of humanity who doesn't, and that Rh negative blood is incompatible with the rest of humanity. So if a Rh negative woman conceives with an Rh positive man, her blood will start to attack the baby as a foreign object. So so Rh negative women have to have basically a shot in order to depress their immune system to stop them killing their own baby. So so that is basically telling you that there's a foreign, you know, this is a foreign DNA that was introduced into humanity. So the other traits of this DNA is white skin, blue or green eyes, blonde or red hair. So that's where you know this came from originally. It was also a curse in the Bible. Whenever there's any cursing to be done, the accursed ones would be smitten with leprosy. And leprosy isn't about, you know, skin falling off and stuff. It's actually skin turning white. You know, you look in the Bible. I think it's in Exodus. Miriam angers the Creator by I think she was having a go at Moses. So the Creator gave her leprosy, and it says, "Behold, she was leprous as snow." So she turned white, and they couldn't move along until she'd kind of repented, and she turned back to original color again. So so that was it's a long story. Yeah, I can get really involved in it, but essentially they're the origin of that DNA. And
anyway, Dave, it's well okay because we've come to listen to you.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't.
Whatever you want to talk about is great with us. We're so pleased that you're here and we're listening to you. So you talk about what you want.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm just saying that. So essentially, that's where that foreign DNA comes from. Now, there are a group of elites who have the purest amount of this bloodline. Okay. So they never marry outside of their own family. That's the royal families, the Germanic royal families. Yeah, they've never married outside their own bloodline. There are a group of Khazarian Jews that don't marry outside of their bloodline either. There are essentially 13 bloodlines. That's the Council of 13 that we've heard about. So as I said, there's there's this group that haven't mixed so much with humanity, and they actually need a lot of help to survive in this world. And some of the stories and myths that we've heard throughout the years actually apply to those families, because their practices, shall we say, in order to survive, have been mythologized into things like vampires and demons and stuff, and werewolves and that. So what they've done essentially is mix in with humanity, and then done a really good sort of PR job with their media and everything else, so that everyone sees them as normal. But literally, humans are dark-skinned. So and again, I know it might be shocking and almost blasphemous to some people for me to say that, but you know, I just have to follow what the truth is.
Do you think this is why all the books got destroyed? You know, 500, because then it would have hidden up all this past, maybe.
Well, 500 years ago was very significant, actually, because that's when everything changed. That's when it was called the Renaissance period, straight after the time that was called the Dark Ages. Well, what were the Dark Ages? Well, that was the 1,000 years of black rule in Europe. Literally, you know, the black people ruled Europe at that time, and when this white bloodline basically took over again, they said, never again. We're not going to have this happen again. So essentially 500 years ago is when all these things changed. That's where this idea of the round earth came from, you know, 500 years ago. You know, it's where all the artwork was destroyed, all the books were destroyed, and then rewritten and repainted, and you know, everything was reimagined, right? So that anybody trying to look back into history would see these people and assume that they were always there, but that's not the case.
I can't remember which princess it was now. Sorry, I'm not very good with names, but she was an Egyptian princess. She went to Scotland and married someone in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And this post I saw said that they did a gene pool of the Northern European men, and about 75% of them had her gene, not the ones that live in Egypt now. I thought that was
her name was Scotia.
Yeah.
So that's where Scotland gets its name from. She was. They say she was an Egyptian princess. She married a Hebrew Israelite, and I can't Golgotha. I can't remember the name of him now. But yeah, I'm so full of this knowledge, and you know, I can't remember it all. It's getting crazy. I'm remembering a lot of it, but you know, there are some names that I just can't keep in my head.
And the chat room really like it, so it's okay, Dave.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that was Scotia. That was another, again, a second incursion of Hebrew Israelites. Turns out the original Greeks were black people. What's really interesting is something else I discovered. There were three layers of Greeks. Okay. Now, the Bible will tell you that the person who was given the area of Greece was called Javan, from son of Japheth. Now, in Hebrew, there is no J and there's no E, so his name would have been pronounced something like Iowan, something like that, Iowan. Yeah.
Oh, completely different.
Yeah. Because there's no J, there's no E. Now, later on, there was a group of Hebrew Israelites. I believe they were Danites, but they were called the Dorians. Okay, and then later on from that, there were the essentially the white people who took over and then rewrote history so that the other two didn't exist. their names, well, they weren't called this, but you can look in their Bible, their New Testament, and they were called the Corinthians. Okay. Interestingly, there are 3 architectural styles called Ioan, yeah, Doric, Dorian, and Corinthian. So it was just like seeing that and seeing that there were 3 layers of Greek history. And this is how they've, this bloodline have actually rampaged across the planet. What they do is they infiltrate and then take over a population, and they become that population. So they sort of mix in, sort of all nice and friendly, with the locals, until they get enough power, and then they take over and they conquer them, and they become those people, and then they rewrite history so that you don't know about the original people. And they did that. They did that in Greece. They moved on to Rome, to Italy, and then they moved to this country. And right now you're seeing it. We're kind of not in the middle of it, sort of the latter stages of what happened in America. So the white people went over to America, kind of all friendly with the natives to start with, until they had enough of them, and they started exterminating them. And now they're the Americans, and the real Americans hardly exist now. So this is...
Could you explain to people why they added these letters onto their names? Why, if they didn't have them originally, or the letters weren't their J's, and why we've got them, and it kind of changes their name?
Right. Well, this is the thing. The English language isn't a real language. It's a programming language. It's a programming language for the human mind. Yeah. The original language, and I know people will argue with me that Hebrew isn't the original language, but it is. The original language, Hebrew, is very different from how English works. Now, the proof that Hebrew is the original language is because, Hebrew is a pictorial and symbolic language, and it reads, it reads right to left. Okay, so every language west of Jerusalem reads left to right, and it's a symbolic language. Every language east of Jerusalem is a pictographic language and reads right to left. So it's pointing. It's like it's not like it shows that all there was one language, and then the people scattered in some event where all the languages got changed, which is the Tower of Babel.
Yes, when you were on a hangout with us before, you showed us, and you just showed how they'd used a letter, and it was this way for this language, same letters, but they've just been turned upside down or sideways or whatever to make different languages. Yes,
exactly. Just for the benefit of people who didn't see that, the good example is the letter A. In Hebrew, in Paleo Hebrew, not the modern Hebrew. Modern Hebrew is not Hebrew, it's Yiddish. In Paleo Hebrew, the first letter is a picture of an ox head. Okay, so imagine that it's the face of an ox with 2 horns. Okay, that has the meaning of strength, power, first, leadership, guidance, that sort of thing. Okay, so every letter has about 8 meanings. So when it got translated to Greek, it was actually like a letter A on its side. So if you can imagine, it's like an arrow with a line through it. So if you turn it right side up, it kind of still looks like a face of an ox of 2 horns. And then when it got translated into English, that letter turned up, so it turned again 90 degrees, and now it's the letter A. So when you go east again, east again, all the languages kind of move away from the original letters into various other pictograms that start off similar to Hebrew. So you've got Sanskrit, and you've got Arabic, and you've got Chinese and Japanese. They're all those pictographic languages. But as I said, Hebrew works completely different to the way English works. An English word, you have to learn it by rotes. Basically, you hear a sound, you have to associate that sound with a thing. Okay, so car, 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 and that's how you learn. You have to through repetition, and it's a kind of mental process. Yeah, you have to remember and associate, remember and associate, remember and associate. With Hebrew, it's completely different. You don't get it here; you get it here in the heart, basically. Let me explain how it works. Let's look at the words to walk, for instance. Okay, the word to walk in Hebrew is the letters lamed, which is the fake Hebrew, but I can't, which is a shepherd's crook. Okay, it's the letter L, shepherd's crook. Again, if you turn that upside down, it's an L. Yeah. So a shepherd's crook.
I remember now. I remember, because what you're going to say is each letter is a saying. It's a whole thing. It means a whole thing.
Yes, each letter has 8 or so different meanings. Okay. So the shepherd's crook means, what you imagine a shepherd's crook to mean. For the sheep, it means guidance. It means leadership. It means, strength. It was like, I'm in charge. That's what it means. And the letter kaf or K, okay, which is the palm of the hand. Okay, so you've got the shepherd's crook and the palm of the hand. Okay, so what do you do when you go out for a walk? Okay. Think like a Hebrew. Yeah, when you go out for a walk, you take your walking stick in the palm of your hand and you go and walk. Okay, it's that simple. Yeah, children get this language like really, really quickly. It's us adults who have to actually work at it. Yeah. But it's both symbolic and pictographical. So in our language, have you ever wondered why the word walk has is pronounced W-A-L-K, walk? That's why it's pronounced that way, is because of the Hebrew letters. I'm sorry, I've gone on a lot, and I've forgotten what the question was.
No, you were just telling us you were just talking to us. I was just asking, what does it mean when you look at like this English language? Siri was saying the other day that although we say like 9/11, say as a number, they say 11/9. It still means the same thing, but they say lots of these European languages say everything like backwards to us.
Well, again, the English language is a programming language. It is designed so it's not only vague, it's designed so that you say one thing, you mean another. And there is power in speech. There's literally power in the words you use. I mean, when I say power, I mean physical manifestation type power in what in the words you use. Okay, so when we use a word, we think it means one thing. The power in the word usually means something opposite. Okay. Okay. An example is the word cure. Yeah, we think that is a pretty good thing. I want to cure cancer. Well, think about it. Think about what the other meaning of the word cure is. Does anybody know what that is?
Sorry, say that bit again.
What's the other meaning of the word cure?
I don't know what the meaning is, but in it, when you dry something, like bacon.
Oh, okay.
When
I
you
was
preserve,
thinking
preserve, yeah.
Preserve. That's the true meaning of the word. to preserve. So when you say, I want to cure cancer, what are you saying? You want to preserve it. Yeah. You know, you say a word that seems positive, like you know something, you know, knowledge, you know something. Well, what's a you know, another word you're actually saying when you say you know something? It's no, you're negating. It's negative. Yeah. So the English language is like full of things like that. I think English language is the only one that anagrams work in. I can't remember. It's not anagrams, is it? Something like that. It's gone out of my head. But the English language is a constructed language, right? Basically to keep us powerless, because as I said, there's power in the words you use.
So you're always actually saying something else.
Yes.
You're always saying,
Never actually learn the true powerful words. That you speak only a powerless language in that sense.
Yes. And it's also used to deceive us as well, because you know, the language legalese is English, right? But it's not English. It's you know, it's all the words have been redefined so that when you say something, you think you mean one thing, you're actually saying something completely different, and you end up incriminating yourself at every turn.
yes, you can talk a bit about that if you like.
Yeah, well, okay, you know, most people have heard of the word, you know, the trickery behind the word understand. That's you know, when you say you get stopped by a policeman and he says, well, I'm charging you with doing 30 or, you know, 50 and a 30. Do you understand? And you, like an idiot, say, yes, I do. I understand what you're saying. But what you're actually saying, you're speaking legalese, and you don't know it. You're actually saying, I consent to this charge. You know, I agree to be bound by it. Yeah, so you're essentially just consenting. Yeah, you've not said you understand what, you know, the words that are coming out of his mouth. You're just saying you're consenting.
So what are you supposed to say then? Now you know that.
I don't understand. No, I don't understand. You know, I don't stand under your words.
Yeah, in a way, keep yourself stupid.
Yeah. So here's another example of how you're being tricked. Okay. Well, most people have got driving licenses, and you know, we think we're driving whenever we get in a car, but it turns out we're not driving. Right? The word to drive actually means something completely different. It's a commercial activity, right? Basically came from the old days when you know, cowboys used to drive cattle. Yeah, they would be employed to drive cattle from one place to another. Yeah, so to drive is to be employed to transport goods or transport passengers for compensation. So we are tricked by the language to think that when we get in a car, we're drivers, but we're not. We're travelers. Yeah, there's a huge difference. Yeah, traveling is a non-commercial activity. Driving is a commercial one, and the government is empowered to regulate commercial activities. So, so the moment you admit to being a driver, now you're liable for all these taxes and MOT and insurance and, you know, whatever else. Yeah, but if you're just a traveler, if you're not acting in commerce, yeah, not performing a function of government, then you're not subject to any of these things. The problem is now that people become so ingrained with this idea of being a driver and stuff that that there's so few of us who actually understand what's really going on. So the police, the courts, and the government, who are all working in concert, can just roll over us now. You know, they just assume that the Muggles are going to look and say, oh yeah, well, he hasn't got a license, so he deserves what he gets. You know, all that stuff. So, but the point is, we're all being tricked by language. Yeah, it's a very, very powerful weapon.
Series has got one, haven't you, Series?
But what? I have a lot of news.
Explain that one then, Series.
I'm thinking of, you can practically have a private plate, in that you are already on the car announced that you're not driving as a driver, but traveling as a traveler.
Yeah, I actually did that back in 2011 and 12. I deregistered my car, I rescinded my driving license, and I notified everybody who's maybe concerned. So, and I travelled around for about a year with my own plate on my car. But then I finally got stopped because they were actually waiting for me, and that I actually filmed the whole thing, and that's on YouTube. But the point is that, as I said, there are so few of us who actually understand, who know that we're being sort of lied to, so that you know, the authorities can just do what they want now, because everyone else isn't going to understand. They're just going to see you as a criminal. You know?
Away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the education of our community is the most important part, actually, that we all realize this.
Yeah, that's why the education is basically making people stupid, dumbing us down so that we don't know what our rights are, and we don't even know that we can claim these rights, you know.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something with the driving? Like, okay, if you can use those terms to drive, what happens when you park the car? Because you're still in all these other places. Like, you've got to park the car somewhere. You've got to park it on a public road, which has laws. And so how do you get around that?
Well, first of all, the road is public. You just said it. It's public. Yeah, we pay for it. We made the roads. They're our roads. They don't belong to the government. They don't belong to anybody else but us. So we can park it wherever we want. When you go to a car park, right? You go to a car park, public car park, right? Somewhere in that car park is an agreement. Yeah, it says something along the lines of, by parking here, you agree to the following terms. Yeah, that you'll pay this much and this much or whatever, or else this will happen and that will happen. Yeah, that's an agreement. It's a when you park in there, it's assumed that you've read the agreement and agreed with it. That's why you're parking there. Yeah, so when they charge you for parking, well, it's because you've just broken a contract. Yeah. Now, the way around that is to have your own contract. Now, on my car, I used to have a little notice on there. It said something like, if you affix anything to my car, I charge this much. If you clamp this car, I charge this much, and so on and so on. So I gave my fee schedule for my various services. Yeah. So if you want to do anything to my car, there's a charge for it. So when I had this notice on my car, I'd park anywhere I wanted to, as long as it wasn't blocking anybody or causing a nuisance. I parked it wherever I wanted to, and I never got a ticket on it.
Cool, that's good.
In that sense, I'm even thinking about hanging a plaque on my door for those who are actually commercially ringing my doorbell.
Well, yes, you can. I'm actually working on my website right now, actually, because I have to reload it because it got trashed, and I'm going to be putting on a lot of these notices and things. Not that they really matter, but they're good for to get your confidence up. What you're talking about is the removal of implied right of entry. Yeah, removal of implied right of entry of access. That's it. So when you open a door, there's an implication you're letting somebody in. Yeah. If you've got a gate on your garden, you've got a gate. That's an implication for somebody to come in. Yeah, and if you don't physically remove that implication, then they can just go ahead and people come in and do what they want because they've got this implied right of access. Yeah, so that's when like a bailiff knocks on the door, okay, and you open the door. Well, now you're implying that you're letting him in. So once you've opened that door, you put his
That's
foot
why
in.
I want to have this plaque on the door. That's as soon as he rings the bell or knocks on my door, he is actually obligated to pay me.
Well, yeah, you can if you go
Just
to Google.
a contract in that they're never gonna ring your doorbell.
If you go to Google and type in removal of implied right of access or notice of removal of implied right of access, you'll find a lot of notices that people have written, you know, that include a fee schedule for various things. So yeah, but it's again, you're an awake person in the land of the sleeping. So you know, it's if they can get away with not honouring these things, they will.
Exactly. Yeah. That's because you don't have the public support in this, because the public doesn't even realize anything of it. Yeah. Yeah, that boils down to actually wake up your neighbor.
I
Did you not hear that, Dave?
I apologise. I couldn't get any of that.
Yeah,
No, I didn't get any of it.
It practically boils down to actually wake up your neighbor.
It boils down to waking up your neighbour.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. It does. But there's so many people who will not wake up, and at the moment they're the majority. And you know, there's a lot of people saying that. So yeah, there's more of us waking up every day. But I see the exponential growth that I was expecting. So I'm not sure that's actually going to happen.
You mean the ones that have been woken up have been woken up?
Well, you know, I think there's always going to be people waking up every day, but I was expecting a kind of exponential snowball effect type growth. But
I think some of them are silent ones.
Well-
Too many are distracted. That's the thing.
yeah, that's true. And the silent ones, well, you know, it's hard to stay silent when you wake up properly. You know, it's hard to stay silent. So if you're silent, then you're not fully awake. You know.
Yeah, that's the same reason I'm coming out with all my research.
Well, it must be obvious to people now, especially those who've got the eyes to see, that we're coming to a point now. We're coming to an event. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's something big.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Yeah.
In a positive way, a positive change.
Well, also a dramatic one, I guess.
I think it's a positive change ultimately, but before we get there, there's going to be a lot of stuff. Let's say.
I know it may be not as wide as we want, that maybe documentaries aren't on the television making this kind of stuff, but even a year ago, well, I came into the Flat Earth January last year, the pyramids were still burial chambers. And if you understand, so much has moved on in that year. Maybe we just want it to move faster, but in a year, so much has happened. There's a lot more meets happening, you know, like Leamington Spa, Cornwall. Then, of course, we've got the UK Flat Earth Conference next year, April, Birmingham. You know, these things weren't there this time last year. Those things are happening now. So they're functions, they're in the future, but they'll be the present, and they'll be Flat Earth, and it's now.
Yeah, I understand that, but there's a bit in the matrix that a lot of people kind of miss or skim over, but it was very, very important. It was a speech by the architect. Does everybody remember that? So the architect, huh?
Refresh our memories.
So I have watched The Matrix, and I probably imagine most of the chat have watched Matrix as well. So
yeah, I couldn't even remember exactly what he said, but he was saying, what he was basically saying, boiling it down, is that in order to keep the system working, they had to allow those people who woke up to what the system was to escape to an area where they could be contained and then eventually exterminated. That was the whole point of it, that those people who woke up were allowed to wake up and allowed to escape to their Zion, only temporarily, so they could be destroyed. Essentially, that's what's happened to us. Yeah, we're not escaping outside the Matrix, but we're our social media, which is pretty much the only way we're allowed to communicate with each other, functions like an echo chamber. It's Facebook, for instance, eventually allows you only to talk to people who are talking about the same things you're talking about. So your message doesn't get out much further than your own community.
I have to say, I went and looked on what was trending on YouTube today. Didn't see one flat Earth show on there. It was everything else but flat Earth. But that's not true. That there are, big gatherings, people watching. Maybe even like today. These things should be trending sometimes, shouldn't they?
Right. Well, just try this yourself. Go into YouTube when you're logged in, and just do either do a search or just look at your recommended list or whatever. Just have a look around on YouTube. And then go in, not logged in, go in as somebody anonymous. You'll find, it's completely different. You'll be probably lucky as an anonymous person to find a single flat Earth video at all in that list.
Oh, well, that's not good, is it?
Yeah, filters, huh?
Yeah, it's an algorithm. It's a very clever algorithm that makes sure that you only talk to or get heard by the people that you interact with, on that particular topic. Because I've noticed that the people that I used to talk to, my friends in America, I hear nothing from them now, because most of them aren't really awake in that way, and so they're not in talking about the subject matters that I'm talking about, so I don't hear from them and they don't hear from me. So
it's very hard when you get to be a flat earther to actually go and then want to be, like I followed somebody and I can't now because he's not a flat earther and yet he's into all these conspiracies, but he believes in space of some kind. So I can't go there now.
Well, exactly. Especially when you realise that some of these people we used to listen to when we still believed in things like space. You realise that they're totally on the wrong track. Because they're still talking about an old model that doesn't work anymore. So they're talking about aliens and Zeta Reticula and
I don't think they realise how much talking really goes on, though, do they? Really?
What do you mean?
Well, we took a night off, and everybody said, "Why weren't you on last night?" Like people want to at least know people are talking about this and coming together. I mean, maybe that's how we do it slowly. Is we just come together, get on.
Yeah, but as I said, it's like an echo chamber because it's people who are aware of it that get to hear it. If they're not aware of it, you don't get to hear it. You're not going. It's only very rarely, like a lot of us did, that you come across something that makes you go, wonder what that is, and then you follow that rabbit hole. But unless that happens to you, you're not going to stumble across it.
Maybe that's because they've got all these planets and galaxies and everything's millions of miles. There's no point, is there? Because everything is millions and trillions and light years. I don't know what I think. I think you've just got. I think a lot of these people, even in the chat room, okay, we're on our computer, but we don't go and watch television anymore. There's something they do through the television.
I think regarding television, they've actually weaponized it now. I think the conversion to digital was them basically weaponizing television. They had it quite effective when it was just the analog, cathode ray tube. We're all familiar with that black band that used to go down the screen. Yeah. Which was essentially putting us into that, I think, is it the beta or alpha state? I can't remember which state it is, but putting you in that hypnotic state. But you've got to know that they're changing to the digital signal is them actually implementing some of those patents for essentially mind control that they've had sort of knocking around for the last few years. I think Richie from Boston did a couple of videos on Hulu. If you listen to those, what he's got to say about that, that is truly frightening. That what they can do with the screens that we're watching right now, even. So.
Well, you mean that like you don't realise it, but your phone is listening to you.
Well,
someone else is listening through your phone and can go through.
It's more than that. One of the patents by a guy called Hendrikus Lewes, or Hendrikus Lew, one of his patents is that the manipulation of the nervous system through using a screen. So essentially, it can send a signal of heat. It's either heat or electromagnetic radiation to certain parts of you, essentially, and
Really?
manipulate your nervous system. Yeah. Again, look at
like when they're using things like oh my goodness, I forgot what they're called now. The what's name wires. It's gone out of my brain. Carry on. I've lost the word now.
Oh. Well, look at oh, I've got an echo. Yeah, look at Richie from Boston's video on Hulu. Okay, it tells you about the patent that this Hendrikus Lew basically created that allows them to manipulate our nervous system using these screens.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've ever watched a film and it made you cry or made you anxious or angry or upset, I mean, what is that? That's literally a pattern of dancing lights and sounds that's having a physiological effect on you.
Oh, the word was fiber optics. Is that why they're using fiber optics? Because that stuff has got like such a capacity of, you could do so much with fiber optics. It's like never ending. Yeah,
I mean, to implement this, they need a lot of bandwidth, and fiber optics is the way. They can't really control us using 56K dial-up.
Yeah, because more people on computers now, aren't they? I suppose, or on Wi-Fi's.
Yeah,
with their tablets and things.
There's probably, and I'm going to a sort of darker area here. There's probably a deeper spiritual aspect to this as well. I think it was Rishi from Boston as well that found the link for me. The idea of a scrying mirror, which is a dark mirror. So it's like a black shiny surface, and that was used to summon demons and things. So what are you looking at right now? If you turn the power off, you're looking at essentially a black mirror. I think maybe they've streamlined the process now.
Yeah, it seems that everything is wrong. Everything is the wrong way round. Just the lie.
Everything in this society is the opposite to what you believe. And I think, you know, people my age, older than I look, people my age, we kind of grew up in almost at the tail end of a kind of golden age where everything was, a lot of things were innocent. Yeah. You know, as kids we'd be playing out in the street, you know, until the street lights came on. There were no dangers out there. There was no, it was an innocent time to be alive. And
no chemtrails.
No chemtrails, no nothing. Yeah. It seems that, you know, in one lifetime, we've gone from this almost innocent time to this, say, satanic time.
I suppose they've made it. Obviously, the people who lived in the pyramids were obviously far more advanced, telepathy, the whole thing. But if you understand from what they're telling us of our history, in a sense, we are getting more educated, whether it's right or wrong, because people have got computers, you know, on tablets. So do you think that's part of it then? I
think that we're not anymore educated as such. We're just starting to realize and starting to wake up and starting to learn. You know, we've fallen so far. You know, I've just started a bit of research on children actually, because I think
children's language. You mean the language they've got?
Oh, I think I mentioned it last time, didn't I?
Yeah, I watched that. It's so funny.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty sure that you know, children come in to this place knowing everything they need to know, absolutely everything, just like every other animal comes into this world knowing what to do, you know, and we're educated out of it, and perhaps also there's a kind of almost genetic education as well, that you know, you come into this world lacking because your parents lacked it, and their parents lacked, and their parents before them lacked. But I think it's now that we're starting to actually find out a bit more about what we're supposed to have known in the first place. You know, knowing that sound is very important, and then realizing that a language is actually working against us. You know, that's huge information.
It's kind of not the right name really that I wanted to call my group, but it's almost like you need to say flat earth schooling because there's just so much to learn.
Yeah.
Again, the shape and nature of the earth is just one stop along the way. And it's, you know, I advise anybody to not get caught up in it. If you get to the point where you're convinced, you are personally convinced about the shape and nature of the earth, then move on. You know, there's further shocks that await you.
Yeah. Shocks.
You say that though, Dave, but we are a research group, and Seerle's he's been putting bits of his model out. We had a video club, and he actually did his presentation last night. But we have to have all different parts of us, like we're parts of a puzzle. There has to be people maybe like Seerle, but there has to be. I mean, look at what you're like, a historian now, aren't you? A storyteller, but of the truth.
Yeah, well, again, that came out of me moving on from flat Earth because, well, I saw there was an even bigger lie lying underneath that. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should just, you know, once they get convinced, then just move on. Right? Some people need more convincing than others. You know, some people need to know, you know, exactly how stuff works. And that's actually great because they're the ones who push on the boundaries and sort of flesh out the model. But the point I'm trying to make is once you get to the point where you're completely convinced of, you know, on your own, then move on.
yeah. So you're doing a bit more research now?
New research.
You're researching? Can you hear me?
Sorry, say that again.
You said that you're doing some new research.
Yeah. I'm still sort of in the middle of the research that I've been talking about tonight. But yeah, on the back burner at the moment is looking at the way children speak. You know, babies speak, because they speak essentially a language without vowels apart from the ah sound. And it's just consonants and the ah sound. So it's like ba, da, ka, la. Yeah. Well, that turns out to be Paleo-Hebrew. Yeah, that's how Paleo-Hebrew is pronounced. So so as silly as this research might be, I'm just going to be researching into how babies speak and wondering if they're speaking Paleo-Hebrew.
What, you mean people who can speak that recognize that's what babies are talking?
Well, Paleo-Hebrew is a dead language. It's a completely dead language for a reason. It's been killed and replaced by a fake version of it. So there aren't too many people who actually speak it. But all I know, and what anybody can find out about it, is some of the rules in the language. So one of the rules is that there aren't any vowels apart from an ah sound, and there's an I as well. But all the sounds of the vowels can be made up with the letter A and a W, or A and a Y. So ow. So, you know, AW makes a U sound eventually, you know, owl. Yeah. So you can kind of hear that. So there isn't too many people who speak Paleo-Hebrew, but and there's not much in the way of references for it.
Do you think that's why they try to kill everything else again? By, like, now English is the language that most people speak. So a lot of people, it's slowly putting other languages out, because you go abroad, you don't have to speak our language at all. They all speak English.
Well, that's the agenda. You know, English is Anglish. It's also angel-ish. It's fallen angel language. Yeah, it's their language, and it's and that's why they're rolling it out across the world, because English is the least expressive of all languages. Yeah, it's like you know, the Eskimos have 50 words for snow. You know, we have one. You know. So we.
Whoa.
Yeah, and Dutch language has a lot with water, for example.
Yeah. So you can see that, you know, there's one word for water, and you've got lots of words in Dutch for water. You can be a lot more expressive about what you're talking about the water than somebody in English can be. Yeah. And if you can limit, because we think in language, yeah, if you can limit the language capacity of somebody, you limit the way they can think.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel if I had 50 words to say snow. I probably wouldn't know which one to say.
Oh no, that's the point. You would know which one to say, because it would be obvious to you, right? It's not obvious to you now.
I was thinking in this mind, not that mind.
Yes, in the English mind, it's not obvious because we've only got one, and we can't differentiate between sort of you know, icy snow and you know, hard packed snow, and you know, all the. But if you've got words for them, they'll come naturally to you.
Where's D? D, is there any questions in the chat room?
Sorry, I've kind of been distracted a bit. My brother turned up, but I've not noticed any at the moment. There was one earlier. I can't remember what it was.
So I just asked, is there anybody in the chat room who's got any questions for Dave?
Could take a second.
Yeah, we'll take a second because there's a slight lag. Oh, so I mean, somebody's just typed in capitals urine therapy. I can't imagine that being a question, but more of a statement. But yeah, no, it's certainly something I've tried.
Yeah, it's great.
Karen?
Yudit, do you want to ask a question? She's coming. Unmute yourself, Yudit. You're muted. I'll do it. I can't do it. That's it.
Yeah, that's good.
Now it's good?
Yep.
Yeah, it's good now.
Oh, wonderful. So it's a big honor for me to be with you. Thank you very much. Dave, I know you years ago because I share your videos about the matrix. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I like to tell you, all my life I want to be black. All my life I feel I am black. So I love to hear this conversation.
Where are you from?
Israel,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yes.
Mm.
And all my life I want to be connect with the black people, and I feel black, and inside me I feel black. Yeah, it's interesting. And when you speak about the language Hebrew, so I was thinking about the Torah, because in Israel we grew up on the Torah.
Mhm.
So it's connect to the heart.
Okay.
And I ask myself all my life until now, if the meaning that I feel in Hebrew, if it exists in another language, and now you give me the answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible. And yeah, I connect with series what is said all the time. It's depend of us, all the change. It's depend of what we are from inside. And yeah, series said it better. Yeah,
What
it's
Siri says is all this has been done to cover up who we are.
yes, and um
So you
yeah.
being in Israel, she feels quite alone. There's not many people in Israel that are into flat Earth.
I'm complete alone, even if I have one friend. She's with me for many, many, many years, and she don't want to hear any of this. So I ask you, you know, I post about the chemistries. I post in my Facebook, and what somebody tell me he hate me because I bring this to his reality.
Mm.
So I ask myself if I do good to post this and bring another reality to the people who doesn't want this reality. If I make, if I ask myself if I do good, maybe I'm not doing, maybe it's not good. Because
Oh,
people see good sky, beautiful sky, they don't see. And when I give them this post, they are in shock. They never see this.
well,
Yeah.
it's reality whether you say it, you tell them about it or not. Yeah. You know, the lines are in the sky whether you alert them to it or not. Yeah. So you're not bringing them a new reality. You're trying to open their eyes to the real reality. Yeah. I mean, and that's noble. You know, that's what that's what a friend would do. Yeah. Look out.
It's
Look
the
out for
way
this.
people talk to you though. They absolutely persecute you.
Yeah. I liken it to you know, being waking up in a hostel, you know, at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, because you've noticed that outside there's all sorts of you know, nasty stuff going on outside the window, and you rush around the house trying to wake everybody else up. Yeah, some people will wake up and come and look for you. Most of the others are going to go, no, leave me alone. Let me go back to sleep. I'm tired. And no, can't this wait? You know, that's it. You know, you can't. Most people, you're not going to wake up. That's why that film. I don't know if you saw. I think I've mentioned this before. You know, They Live. You know, the reason why that has the longest fight in cinematic history is because that's
yes, I love this film. Yes, I
yeah,
posted too. Yes.
that's the struggle of trying to wake somebody up. Yeah, you're fighting them tooth and nail. You know.
I mean, I can, yeah, definitely attest to that. Like I said, it took a broken spine to wake me up. So, and I'd still be asleep if it wasn't for that. And yeah, yeah, we're starting to get some questions in from the chat now, if that's okay. Basically,
Dave doesn't mind.
one from Marilyn Wimsby. She's asking, how do you kind of check out your bloodlines and stuff?
Okay. How do you check out your bloodline? Well, personally, I would not go with the whole DNA thing, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to send it away to somebody, and they'll tell you what they want to tell you. And they also send this as a matter of course. They send your DNA off to some of the intelligence agencies, and that's been documented as well. So they're after our DNA anyway, so don't help them. The only way really is the old-fashioned way. Ask relatives, you know, and try and track down your relatives. And, you know, if you know that your family lived in a certain place, you know, if you really want to go into this, you know, go to the local church and find because they used to have a book of marriages and deaths and stuff. You be able to.
I know what you know, because I live a place down the road is called Hungerford. I hadn't even thought in their mind that the ford meant that there was water there. There was a ford there, so it's called Hungerford.
Mm-hmm.
And Inkpen, where I used to live, sort of 15, 20 miles away. Well, it's obvious what that is, but in today's world, we don't associate any of these words with any of these things.
Yeah. That's
just
the thing.
a name.
That's the thing, you know. All words mean something. You know, they all meant something in the past, especially. But obviously now in our dumbed down state, you know, we don't know what these words mean. You know, we don't know what symbols mean. You know, in the past, people would see a symbol and they'd know exactly what it means and like run a mile. You know, but now people are having it tattooed on their arms. You know,
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, got another question here from Chris Monk. He's asking, I think he's asking about Paleo-Hebrew. He's saying, would that language align with Rosicrucian alpha text?
Rosicrucian.
Rosicrucian, thank you. Yeah, sorry.
I'm not aware of this Rosicrucian text. But you know what? I'm gonna look that up because yeah, I've been looking at different languages and trying to match them up. I don't know, to be honest. What I did find out was, and this is one of the reasons I knew that the Irish were Hebrew Israelites, is that I found Iberian script and I saw that it matched up with Paleo-Hebrew in the Phoenician version of Paleo-Hebrew. So I then followed the Iberian script to ancient Irish script, which again started to match up. So you can see the progression from away from Hebrew into the ancient Irish script.
Well, most of us don't know all this stuff because we haven't gone and researched like you.
But it's all there. We can all do it. You know, it's, if you find an interest in something, yeah, just realize that you have the power. You know, it's not just so-called experts. Yeah, they want you to believe that, you know, you personally are pretty stupid compared to all these experts who, you know. But no, the world is a lot smaller than you think. You know, and you know, you have more capability than you realize. Yeah, so just jump in there, and before long you will become an expert in something. And we've seen that in the flat earth. You know, how many people amongst us have become experts in refraction, or you know, or you know, the Coriolis effect or whatever. Yeah, because we've got a passion for something, and we've, like, you know, absorbed all this knowledge, and we become experts at it.
Yeah, in that sense, we're here actually trying to share all the experts with each other, that we get a way bigger knowledge of tree together as a network, as a community. Realizing what's going on and cross-linking the fields. And that actually see what's happening both together, or in way more.
And that's what happens naturally, because all of these topics, all of them, no matter what it is, you know, whether it's conspiracy or 9/11 or the health system or flat Earth, it's all interlinked. They're all connected. They're you know, they're all interconnected.
Yeah, so far I call the conspiracy a cake, the flat Earth, cherry on top of it, but also the glue between the puzzle pieces and the platform to lay it on, and that you can make a bigger picture of it and actually see what's happening. It's just, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's, you need the cake first to actually not choke on that particular cherry. Those who begin with the cherry just choke on it. That's, yeah, you see their struggle.
Well, personally, I think you can start anywhere. This is my personal view. You can start anywhere, but you always eventually end up in the same places. Yeah, you know, you might start at flat Earth, and then you'll end up, you know, realizing the Rockefellers' influence on it, and then, you know, the Freemasons, and then you'll get into the conspiracy, and then you'll get into health, and, you know, you'll end up there anyway.
Yeah, it was a big journey since 9/11.
So I got another question come in here. Sorry. It's from Francis Patron. He's asking, does Dave know about the Thracians or the connection with Ireland and Libya? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right as well. Thracians, yeah. Thracians,
yeah. To be honest, I've been concentrating my you know, my efforts on European history as it relates to British history and American. Yeah, so I followed it around through Africa, and I haven't really spent much time in Africa, but through Africa to America, and from Europe to America, and from Europe to England. I haven't really put too much energy into looking, you know, right down into Europe. That's a huge topic, and you know, every time I started looking into it, it was like you know, clawing through spaghetti. It was you know, I was finding information but can't link it to anything else, and yeah. So what I do, and what I seem to do best is get lots and lots of information and then simplify it so that other people can understand it. So there's a lot of information, including Thracians and that I've just left out of the model because it's while it's interesting and it might have a minor bearing on it, it's not relevant.
It just sounds so complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because everything, like, if Series goes to talk about his work, there's so many different spirals. If Santos talks, it's the same thing. There's just so much to say. So yeah, I understand maybe why you want to.
Yeah, as I said, when you just look at the Greeks, there are 3 layers of Greeks, and there's also other kind of invasions and things, and you know, if you took all those pieces and try and integrate them, it's just like a mess. You know, it's because it's all overlapping and everything, and you can't make sense of it. So you know, part of the simplifying process is I've had to leave out a lot of stuff that I didn't think was directly relevant.
Mind you, on the other hand, we're going to do for series research a little bit different. We decided we're not in a rush. He presented his work yesterday, but we can go over it and over it and over it for people to understand. But a lot of people don't realise that they're living in a spiritual realm for a start. A lot of people don't maybe like the connection, but there is. We're in a realm, so.
And you said it right. It's a spiritual realm. And that's a key thing. Science was created so that we believe the fact that we live in the idea that we live in a physical, natural world. Yeah, everything's explainable, everything's natural, but we don't. We live in a supernatural world. And science tells us to ignore anything that's supernatural, anything that doesn't fit their model. Put it in a box over there, not you know, erroneous, and ignore it. But we're finding that actually there's more to this world than just the physical.
Well, I just said, like, when it first hit me, like, it's not that maybe I hadn't in the past come across things like giant skeletons. You know, you heard the stories, but suddenly it's a bit like, what? They were real. It has to like go in a bit because it's just everything.
Yeah,
everything's been lied about.
Yeah,
everything fairy tale before becomes suddenly reality. Then and then because you actually miss the context of everything. You got never the context, and now the context is falling in place.
Mm-hmm. I mean, have you seen some of the megalithic sites? There's one place with these massive stairs. Each step is about 20 foot high. You know, it's like all those steps made for. You know,
not us.
Not us.
They would be pretty big, wouldn't they?
Yes. So yeah, and then finding out that the Smithsonian has been systematically hiding all evidence of not only giant skeletons but unusual ones like human skeletons with horns and you know, all sorts of strange things. They've been, you know, gathering them up and destroying them or hiding them away, and so is the Vatican.
I said this. They've got us looking up there when we really need to go down there. We need to go down, not up.
We need to look everywhere. That's the thing. Yeah. And also we need to definitely look at everything that's right in front of us, because they like to hide things right out in front of us.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been going back and watching a few of the old Star Trek series and stuff like Deep Space Nine and all that, and it's basically that it's all there. It's all there if you got the eyes to look.
Mm-hmm. I just posted something on Facebook about the last 3 episodes of Doctor Who. Well, it's not the last 3. It's I think it was like 5 episodes ago it started. There was a series of 3 episodes, and literally everything's in there. It's like, you know, pyramids, portals, Vatican, the Pentagon, CERN, all in one episode, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dave.
Dave,
Yeah.
I have a message for you.
We have somebody in our chat.
Oh, one at a time.
We have somebody in our chat called the Hori Sheet Show. He does a Flat Earth Weekly Digest. Mm-hmm. He's a really big fan and admirer of yours, and he'd like to do a future interview with you. He does a really good job of doing a Flat Earth and review. He does a weekly or a bi-weekly show, and he'd like to feature you and interview you. I'm just passing that along, a message from the chat. And I'd like to thank all the people that are joining us today. It's been really great. And it's great to have allegedly Dave on. So thank you very much. That's all.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Yeah, another question from
Well, I'll just say that if you want to get in touch with me, you can contact me on dave@allegedlydave.com.
Excellent. There you go, Hori. Hope you got that. But yeah, I've got another question
Thanks.
from chat as well from FPV Angel saying there's a new world map being created. Are you aware of that, Dave? And if you are, what are your thoughts on it?
A new world map. I guess it's a flat Earth map. I'm in the vein that I'm not sure what our realm looks like. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure that we are able to quite comprehend what it might look like, because we've come across so many conflicting bits of information. You know.
Try watching my video from yesterday.
Sorry, say again?
Try watching the video I made yesterday.
Oh,
on the
okay.
book club.
Okay.
That could help a lot.
But I'm just saying. Well, I don't know. I think the current flat Earth map, I know that it's not entirely accurate, but it's one of those things that's good enough for this point. It's good enough until we actually, go and try and really map the world. It's good enough. I'm not going to be a navigator. I'm not going to have to travel from. So at the moment, it's not something I need to have or know. But so the flat Earth map is good enough. It explains some odd flights that go, that's going on. So it's good enough.
Series, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, so far I figured kind of military source data, what is just hidden and right in our face. It's just coming out of Google Maps. And I've expanded the missing data with missing photographical data beyond north and south, with the elevation data they had in the same application in the right photographic dimensions. And I end up actually with the triple square, what has an east-west looping.
And east-west looping.
Yeah, it's hyperdimensional in nature. It has also a north-south looping, but because I already have the 3 squares, I was looking for something what actually could tell the actual beyond length what it should be. If east-west is a 4th dimensional looping, then north-south should be the 5th dimensional looping. And through the flower of life pattern, I actually discovered that you need eventually 26 squares to complete the 5th circle. And halfway you find the square of the heaven. And through the book, The Worlds Beyond the Poles, I was actually looking more into the direction of what the north-south realms were, in that they were the celestial realms projected as a hologram in our sky. And we see the north and the south actual axis on where it turns, what is halfway the wheel of the whole 5th dimensional circle. It's a lot of it. It's basically the based on the sacred geometry, what actually extends this whole thing. And also I can draw it in a square, but eventually to draw up to the 7th dimension, you actually need to close the circles and misform reality through that. To see it as a model. It will take a while to actually figure out how to project it. But
as I said, I think it's a realm that I will not be able to understand myself.
Yeah, we are in the heart of it all.
Yeah,
like in the middle garden of the tree of life.
But who says that we're supposed to be able to understand it? It's just the realm that we live in. It's only science that tells us we're supposed to be able to understand it. It's simple and straightforward, and we should be able to understand it.
Yeah, I see also many wanting to travel beyond, while we're actually here. And if you ask me, we are here to actually deal with reality here and not beyond in the realms.
Exactly.
Eventually go there, but let's first organize ourselves for how we should.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who spend a lot of time, you know, trying to access other realities and stuff like that, you know. But you're here in this reality, you know. We're here for a reason. Let's play it out. Yeah.
See.
And most people don't even realize that reality is actually in your head.
Mm-hmm.
It's inside.
It's ball.
Yeah, now we're getting into the whole metaphysical part now.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. That's just a.
It's spiritual,
That's
physical.
just a.
It's both together. It's you can't have the other one without the other.
Inside your head's just how you perceive reality.
Yeah, Osho explained with wisdom that knowledge is actually kind of blinding glasses in front of your eyes, what keeps you from actually watching into reality and experience it for what it is.
Well, the way I see this reality is that you know, it's, and I think I've said this before. We are like Oliver Twist to Charles Dickens. Yeah, Charles Dickens, when he wrote the story, he created a world, he populated it with these characters, and then let them have free will, and then wrote down what they did, essentially. So
why are we here then? He asked this question. Why are we here?
And you're asking me as if I know.
You know.
Asking you, Dave. Sorry. Why are we here?
I'm Dave from Basildon, so I know everything now. I had no idea. I think my personal view is that we're learning to be. This is a sandbox. This isn't a real life. You know, if we have an eternal soul, an eternal part of us, then it doesn't make sense that you know, this blip of life, this 100 years or whatever it is we have, is the important part of it. It's I think it's a training ground, because we come in here with nothing. We're going to leave with nothing. The only thing that makes any difference in the lives that we lead is what we do in the circumstances that are presented to us. Yeah. So we're put into these circumstances and go. What do you do? It's kind of like my son used to play this Star Wars Jedi game, and you know, he'd be running around doing all these things, you know, with his lightsaber and doing stuff, and all the way through this game, he'd have to make decisions, and every decision he made determined whether he became a Dark Lord or a Jedi Knight. So if he made some nasty decisions, then he'd end up going towards the dark side and eventually end up as a Dark Lord. But if he made the right decisions, then he'd become a Jedi. Yeah, I think that's similar to what we're doing here. Yeah, we've got situations presented to us. You know, we all know what we're supposed to do. We make choices, and depending on our choices determines what happens after we leave this place, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, the sandbox of our personal test, indeed.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say, Billy?
No, I'm taking it all in. I always enjoy listening to Dave whenever he's in town.
Dave's in town. Patricia or Yudit, do you have anything to say? Any more questions in the chat room?
I mean, there was some people asking for Dave to talk a bit about the urine therapy and nutrition a bit, maybe.
Okay.
Likes that subject, don't you, Dave?
Well, to be
Yeah.
fair, I do as well, because it's something I'm very much dabbling in and doing a bit here and there as well. So yeah, I've got to say, I'm glad somebody asked the question earlier.
We'll come back to you.
Okay, well, it's amazing stuff, and I don't know what it's a huge topic as well, so I don't know where I'd have to start with it. But I've just stopped speaking to somebody. I've just been speaking to somebody who's just started. She started 28 days ago, and it took her a long time before she got the courage to start. But she's actually, after the first day, she was so excited about what happened to her in that one day after taking 1 ounce of it, yeah, that she started doing a video series. I don't have the link with me or anything, but I have to give it to you so you can follow it. But so she's been posting her progress over the last 28 days, and she's been suffering from debilitating back problems for 20 years or so. And the first night that she did this, the pain disappeared for the first time, and she was able to get a full night's sleep. And she's got really excited. That's why she made the first video, because it was like amazing. So and that's not an atypical story. I mean, there's pretty much everybody that I've introduced to the therapy has had amazing results. They come back to me and rave about, so it's because it's really funny when I post a urine therapy video. People, the same old people get on there and they scoff and they laugh about it and stuff. But if you actually try it, if you actually got the nerve to give it a go, right, just once, the likelihood is that you'll experience some amazing effects that will make you want to keep doing it. And this is what's happening to this woman. She was only going to do a 30-day trial with this, but it's day 28, and she says, "Well, I'm not stopping now."
I've got to say, when I tried it the first time, just the energy boost you get is incredible. You just get, I don't know, it's almost euphoric. It's crazy.
Yeah, I described it as a feeling of well-being, and and it's like bursts of energy. Yeah, that happened to me the first time as well. What else happened to you?
Well, see, I've changed such a lot of stuff. I can't be 100%, but I think, like you, it may have cured my asthma.
Well, you should know if you how do you feel? I don't know about you, but when there's a bit of noise in back here. When I had the asthma, no matter how well I felt, I always had this deep rattling right down in the depths of my lungs, so that if I breathed out really hard, there'd be a kind of a bit of a wheeze at the end. Well, that disappeared. That's why I knew that I didn't have it anymore, because I can take a nice deep breath, breathe out, and I don't have that rattle that was always with me.
Yeah, no, that I've got to say that's pretty much how it's been for me. I mean, so far it's been, I think, coming up 3 months since I've used my inhaler. Like I say, I mean, I was on 2 inhalers, one for nighttime and one for relief and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's not like I was just a small-time asthmatic. And
yeah. Well, you start to, if you ever use it again, you'll start to realize that when you use it, it will actually make you use it more, because it will. Sorry.
Yeah, so I checked out the side effects actually, and one of the side effects for salbutamol is shortness of breath.
Yeah, what a surprise, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I noticed, when I was sort of halfway through, I'd use the inhaler, and then I'd find that I'd have to keep using it, and I'd be using it like on and off for about 2 weeks before it sort of subsided, and I didn't have to use it again. So yeah, it would give you short-term relief, but then it would bring it back on even stronger. So you'd have to use it again. So yeah, you know what? I had this experience. This was about 6 months ago, 3 to 6 months ago. I was at my sister's house. She's got this animal feed that she's making, and so this stuff's in the air all over the place. And I started breathing that air, and one thing I've noticed is I'm very sensitive to bad air now. So I started to cough and sneeze and stuff and wheeze. But as soon as I go out the house, it cleared up straight away. So I was working in the house all day one day, and I was a bit too busy to leave. So I just sort of bit my tongue and sort of worked through it. But at the end of the day, I was like I was wheezing and coughing a bit. And my sister came in and she insisted on taking me to the doctor. So I was trying to argue with her, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to go. Let's go and see what happens. So I went to the doctor with her, and this doctor, first of all, he said, "Oh, you've got asthma." I said, "Well, I don't really have asthma, because no, I've just walked out of the house and I'm feeling a lot better now." And at that time, I was a lot better. He said, "No, you've got asthma." I said, "Okay." He said, "You've also got a chest infection." I said, "Okay, that happened over the last hour." And he said, "You've got high blood pressure." I was like, could that be because I was having difficulty breathing and now my heart's having to work? But he said, no, you've got high blood pressure. So he ended up wanting to give me a whole stack of pills and inhaler. He wanted to give me an injection. He wanted to give me antibiotics. I would have walked out of that. Well, I did walk out of there with all these pills and stuff, which I threw in a bin. But I did it so that my sister could see how these doctors will load you up in these noxious poisons. And if I was, your regular muggle, I'd probably be back on those things and back on that treadmill of ill health and more pharmaceuticals.
Because most pills have side effects, don't they? So if you're taking a different lot of...
Sorry, carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay. I was just saying, if they're giving you all these different pills with all different side effects, that's all going to affect you, isn't it?
Yeah, well...
Anyway, that's the one thing you've learned, isn't it, now, is try not to take any medication if you can at all.
All pills, all their pharmaceuticals have side effects. They're not side effects, they're primary effects. This is the point. They're primary effects, yeah? And they're deliberately put in there because of... this fiendish business model of theirs, yeah. You're selling pharmaceuticals, yeah. What better thing could you have than putting in a mechanism so that you end up buying more of their stuff, and that's it. You take one pill, well then you need another pill to counteract the side effects of the first pill. Now you need another pill to counteract the side effects of the second pill, and so on and so on and so on until you end up with a whole tabletop full of drugs.
Do something, series.
What?
I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah, what I was thinking. I've etalage legs. I don't know if you know what it means.
What is that?
Etalage legs. Kind of, I need to stand still in front of an etalage to watch the etalage to get blood in my legs again. Because my blood veins in my legs are closed down through 25 years sitting behind the computer and smoking all the time. And what I got was cholesterol lowers and blood thinners. But after a while, I just quit using those. And the only cure I can find is just by walking.
Well, can I suggest something for you?
In a sense, I might walk one day over the borders, that it really hurts, but the next day actually feels better by just doing the exercise.
Okay, I can suggest something for you.
Well,
if you're too squeamish to actually drink the stuff, I'd collect your first morning urination, okay, and basically massage it into your legs. Okay, so pour a little bit into the palm of your hands and massage it into the skin until it absorbs completely, and it will absorb and it won't smell. And you keep doing that, and you'll find that you know, the circulation will start to improve.
okay, that's another way.
Yeah.
Does it work with wrinkles on your face?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. In fact, I don't know if you bear with me a second, can I share my screen?
Yeah, in the left you have a bar popping up with
Okay.
a green icon for screen share.
Okay. Give me a second. Let me share my screen. Tell me if you're seeing something. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh. I'm sorry, I hear an echo. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is that woman I was telling you about. Now, I don't know if you. I mean, it's very subtle, but can you see? There's that how she seems sort of a lot younger in this third picture at 28, day 28. Can you see that?
A little bit blurry, but
Let me give me 1 second.
a thinner.
Give me 1 second. I just want to see if I can find some other pictures here. Here's a. Can you see this one?
Golly,
Right.
what? Whoa.
You're younger, yeah.
Right. So she's been on it for about 8 years now, and probably longer than that now. But I you know, she came over. She's from Switzerland, and she came over to see me, and yeah, in her presence, you think you're in the presence of a teenager. She's about 44, 42, 44, something like that. But you'd think you're in the presence of a teenager.
You've actually
Sorry?
met her.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
actually met her. See?
Yeah. Yes. Her name's Monica, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
So let me find another one for you. This guy's name's Andy. He was on it for about 6 months. So that's so another one. Oh, this is good progression. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh yeah.
You see the progression there? It's quite. I think I got one of these, two of these mixed up. I can't remember which. I think this one's supposed to go there, but I don't know.
Oh.
So there's that, and these people have all just tried this just to get rid of something else. So
Yeah.
sorry. And this woman basically wanted to actually get healthier and feel younger and stuff. And this is just 3 months.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Let's find another one. Okay. So Karen, she was on it for a couple of years. And again, she did it to rid of herself of some other problem, and one of the side effects is she got younger and stronger.
Yeah.
Does she does it help lose weight as well?
Well, here you go. Yes, it does.
The photo.
Here's me. I was nearly 20 stone when I started, and this picture is me just over a year into urine therapy. It's a bit of a cheat really, because it was a year and a 30-day urine fast. So that was at the end of the fast.
Oh yeah.
This one, I can't find my mum actually. Oh yeah, there's so there's my mum. She was in a wheelchair, and
That's your mum.
yeah,
Before and after.
yep. And she was she had a whole tabletop full of. Sorry.
It even changes the colour of your hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if I've got a picture of. There's another woman. I haven't got a picture here. She had completely grey hair, and after a little while on urine therapy, her hair came back to her original colour. I don't have a picture there, but again, this I don't know how long Jessica was on it for, but again, she started saying that when she went out of the sun, his friends started saying, "Is this your girlfriend?"
Oh my goodness.
So
Oh my
yeah, so yeah, that's it. I won't bore you with all the others, but there you go.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no wonder you want to share it.
Yeah. So so yeah, when I've put my book out there, and a lot of people have got my book and said that you know, they've been following it and had some amazing results, and I get emails from people left, right, and centre saying, "Thank you for forcing me to use the we."
Huh. Yeah, I've been a bit of a coward, I have to say. Everything sounds great, except the actual just doing it.
Well, there's one thing you can do. If you're not going to get my book, you can. There's my on my YouTube channel. There's it's a video that's like accompanying my book. It's called the Human Body Workshop, and basically I sort of give you a kind of overview of the sort of healing technique that I've been sort of sharing with people. So if you can find that video, it will at least give you the push you need to start if you need it.
It's not something they teach you, is it? Anywhere?
No, and there's a good reason for that. If they did, then there would not be a medical system or pharmaceutical industry.
That's the whole point.
True. Yeah.
And I don't know if any of you have caught. There was a video I did that I turned in. I had an interview on a radio station, Radio London, and I was sort of put almost head to head with a doctor, and you know, this doctor tried to argue against me. She ended up actually arguing for me, and the host started arguing for me as well. So it's the medical establishment is actually fighting a losing battle against this knowledge.
Yeah.
Talking about interview, what happened about your the morning show? Did it happen? Did it going to happen? You're going on your interview on the, what do you call it, GMTV or whatever it is?
It was this morning, and
that's it. Sorry.
And what happened was I think it was on a Tuesday. On the Monday, sort of midday on Monday, they phoned me and cancelled. They kind of cited some vague scheduling problem, and they cancelled it. But that night was the Manchester event, and this morning wasn't on the next day. So they had prior knowledge that the Manchester terrorist attack was going to happen, and they cleared the schedule because they knew they weren't going to be on the next day.
Terrible. Did they ever? Have you sorted something back out with them?
No. I haven't heard from them since that. So.
And what were you going on there to talk about? Urine therapy.
Yes. Yeah, and they were lining up for me to drink it on air as well, which I was quite happy to do.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's a shame because I was going to be able to plug my book on national television, but didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I bet you wouldn't be allowed to say flat Earth, though, would you?
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, you should try and get flat Earth in there, flat Earth." I was like, well, you know what? This information that I'm trying to get across to people is like life saving, and I don't think I want to compromise that by appearing to look idiotic amongst the muggles, because I can only take so much at one time, to be honest.
Hey, Dave.
So,
they can fly in your flat Earth side of you if they want to, if they start getting more into your...
yeah.
Hey, Dave, some people are wondering if that makes a great mix with scotch.
I haven't tried it. I won't try it because scotch is a poison, so it'd be like
no, it's just a little joke. That's all. No, I didn't mean no disrespect. I just said it as a joke.
I know, but you say that, but somebody's going to try it, I'm sure.
You can't mix it with anything else, otherwise it won't do what it's supposed to do. It's not like you can boil it and have it as a cup of tea, is it, or something? You just you've got to.
But you can mix it with juice.
I was just quoting a line out of Star Trek from Scotty. Does it make a good mix with scotch? That's what he always used to say. So that's all.
Yeah. But you can mix it with juice, or some people mix it with water, sort of dilute it down with water. At first, as long as you're getting some in you, then great. Obviously it's diluted and not as effective, but it's a great gateway into actually doing it properly. So because once you get over the yuck factor, that idea that, oh, I'm drinking wee, once you get over that, then you get to the point where you don't care whether it's neat or not.
Yeah, it's just too curing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I got to say, I started out, I used my first pee in the morning, I'd just literally stick my hand down there and just try and lap a few laps of it and like get a few drops under my tongue more than anything. So yeah, there are ways to start off slow.
Yeah, but you know what I say, stop being a pussy and just drink it. Yeah.
yeah, there's always that. There is always that.
Yeah, it's like my mum used to try and make me eat Brussels sprouts, and she'd say, "Well, they're good for you, so eat it."
Way 2/3 of the supermarket is poison anyway, and that we eat with ease,
Yeah, and you'd be surprised how many people wouldn't hesitate to put noxious chemotherapy drugs in them, but they'll sort of turn their nose up when the idea of drinking weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you find out that wasn't really meant to save the people, was it? Like the actual rate of people surviving these things, radiotherapy and all that, they don't really work at all.
4% survival rate. Because what they do is they don't factor in the when they give you these treatments for cancer, what these treatments do is destroy the symptom, that is the tumor. Okay, so radiotherapy burns the tumor away, chemotherapy poisons the tumor, and surgery just cuts it out. So the tumor's gone, but that's just a symptom. The cancer is still there, and it usually takes around about 5 years to reappear, and it will reappear 9 times out of 10. It will reappear. So they stop monitoring people 5 years, exactly 5 years after they go into remission. And the word remission means a temporary state of relief. That's what it means. So they stop monitoring exactly 5 years, and when it comes back at 5 years and a day later, they class it as a different cancer. So they've literally got a success, right, even though it's not a success. Yeah. And
I heard also a story of how you can actually see it. It's like your body is the car,
Mm-hmm.
and you have an indication lamp on the dashboard
Mm-hmm.
of something wrong in the motor. And the way they treat it is by smashing the indicator lamp.
Yeah, they take out the bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. You don't see the symptom anymore, but the problem's still there, and because you're not aware of it, because the light bulb is not there anymore, you don't see it getting worse and worse until it, fails catastrophically.
Yeah.
A video I did, doctors see that most cancer patients are salt deficient, but I've seen one of our members in our group doesn't think salts are very good for you, but a lot of people say they are, because obviously we're magnetic beings. But the doctors were saying cancer patients were salt deficient, and they're actually prescribing salt tablets for depression.
Right. Well, first of all, salt is an inorganic mineral, and it's not good for you. I mean, the body, when you give it salt, it irritates the body so much that that your body tries to flush it out with water. That's why it dehydrates you. But they keep saying, "Oh, cancer, salt deficiency, or this deficiency, or that deficiency," but they already knew what what caused cancer back in 1931. Dr. Otto Warburg got a Nobel Prize for medicine because he discovered how cancer works. But this is one of the things they sweep under the carpet, so you don't know about it. And he realized that it's an oxygen deficiency brought on by an acidic body chemistry. So all you do is you raise your body pH to something like 7 or 7.9, I think it was, and all of a sudden, once you do that, cancer disappears, and nothing else can harm you once you get your body to that level. And he got a Nobel Prize for it, but everyone ignores that now.
So basically, all we should be eating is the vegetables and the fruits, which have all the right salt, sugars, everything. That's what we should just be doing.
Forget this idea of salts and sugars. Yeah, this is a modern idea. Okay, it's eating fruit is the best thing you can do. Yeah, it's not because it's got sugar in it or salts or anything. It's because it's fruit. It's mostly water. The juicy fruits are mostly water, and the actual physical stuff is very little in, say, a watermelon, for instance. Yeah, so it's not putting a load on your body. Your body's not using lots and lots of energy to get rid of it, and because again, it's mostly water, and water in it is distilled water as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. I suppose I only just realised that recently, Anyway, what do you want to go, Dave?
I still a question about the salt. Sentence is actually about the 12 pillars of salt, in where he associates the astrological signs, each on their own salts, in where he explains that you get 9 from your mother in the womb, but when you are born, you're missing the 3 after that from the astrological signs, and those are standard deficient, kind of deficient in your life, and then sometimes you have combinations of your astrological chart that particular salts are actually also needed to be added or something. But these salts are based on a specific chemical name for them, and these are coming out of all kinds of food, and the only thing I'm missing is actually the link between the salt and food, that I know one is well. In this case, I think there's a difference between the word salt and the 12 salts, because these are all different, as the body is also according to his story, built out of the 12 salts.
Okay. Here's the thing that I learned while I was writing my book. Okay. The human body does not need anything external. It manufactures everything that it could possibly need internally. Yeah.
Oh.
So anything that the body could need, like magnesium or iron or you know, certain salts or whatever, the body manufactures. It uses a process very much like photosynthesis, the process of turning light, cosmic radiation, into physical matter, right? We do it just like plants do it, okay?
Yeah.
Now, this was proven in the 1700s by a guy called George Lakhovsky, who, what he did was he got a colony of bacteria, and he measured the amount of iron in that colony, and sealed this colony of bacteria in a glass tube, yeah, it's completely sealed, left it for a certain amount of time, and then measured the amount of iron in that tube, and the amount of iron had grown with the colony. Now, the iron couldn't have come in any other way. Yeah, it's these bacteria manufactured the iron that they need. So we do the same thing. He did several other experiments that show that we do the same thing. You know, we manufacture everything we need. The only time that we have a deficiency is if something in our environment or something that we eat or ingest somehow throws our equilibrium off. So an example is if you drink a can of Coke. Yeah, you drink a can of Coke. It's so full of phosphoric acid that your body will go into emergency mode and reach for the best antacid that it has available to it, which is calcium. So it literally leaches calcium out of your teeth and your bones. Yeah. To actually subdue this acid. Okay. So now you've got a calcium deficiency. Now, if you stopped drinking Coke, well, then your body will start producing more calcium, and it will replace the calcium that was lost. But if you don't know, and you just continue drinking the Coke, then you get deficiency upon deficiency, and until you get to a serious point, a serious situation. But it isn't that you need.
For example.
Well,
Yeah,
I can attest to the Coke thing, that because I literally only drank Coca-Cola for 20 years. That was the only liquid that passed my lips, apart from the occasional alcoholic drink. And like I say, I did one little front flip on a trampoline and landed it slightly poorly, and that's what fractured my spine. And again, it was about 2 weeks after that I found out all this stuff about how Coke's really bad for you, and it draws the calcium out and leaves you with weak bones basically, and all that kind of stuff. But and ever since cutting out the Coke and cleaning up my lifestyle, like I say, I've just come on leaps and bounds. I very rarely get depressed anymore. I'm just happier, I look healthier, I feel healthier. So it's just all good stuff.
The answers to all this are very, very simple. Sometimes it's so simple that we can't see it. The
thoughts on something. Can I take your thoughts, Deb? The biggest thing that people are getting right now is gallstones. Like, it's the most biggest thing that people are going for operations, including myself. So what do you think's happening there? Because that's a build-up of calcium, isn't it?
Yes, it's in your water. So all the water sources you drink, like distilled water, spring water, bottled water, tap water, all of those water sources have inorganic minerals in them. And they're dissolved in the water, so you can't see them. The water looks clean and everything, but these microscopic bits of dirt and rock are floating in the water, right? And when you drink that water, your body basically doesn't know what to do with these inorganic minerals, which salt is one of them, and so they get deposited around your body. And so when it's in your joints, it's arthritis. In your eyes, it's cataracts. In your arteries, it's heart disease and strokes. In your gallbladder, it's gallstones. In your kidneys, it's kidney stones. So to get rid of them, you just drink lots and lots of distilled water. Okay, distilled water latches on to inorganic minerals and sort of keeps it in the water and then flushes them out of your body. And you know how it works because you use water in when you wash your clothes. Yeah, you wash your clothes, the inorganic minerals, the rock and dirt, basically come out of your clothes and stays in the water, doesn't go back on your clothes. Yeah. And that's how your clothes get clean, you know, because the water is latching onto those inorganic minerals. But that water doesn't touch the organic minerals, like and organic substances like, you know, blood stains, grass stains, sweat stains. Yeah, you need a detergent to break them down so that the water can grab hold of them. So yeah, that's what distilled water does for you. It will actually break up kidney stones and gallstones, so that you can get rid of them. So you don't need operations. You just need to go on a diet of distilled water.
Yeah, they gave me pills to take for 6 months to see whether it would sort of break the stones up a bit, but it didn't.
Yeah, and obviously those pills will do something else as well. So if you took them for 6 months, you're likely to be facing something else a little way down the line.
Oh, thank you, Dave.
Sorry.
But I had these stones stuck. I had a stone stuck in my. Oh, it's going to sound. Maybe I should in my bile duct, and it made me really ill. I was the colour of an orange because it was just all the poisons were going out in my body. But I had 6 stones outside my gallbladder, and then they took my gallbladder away.
Oh.
But when it did, it caused internal infections and it killed me.
Of course.
No. I thought it was the water we were drinking, really, because it just seems that that's the biggest thing that people go in for now is gallstones.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a simple thing. For most things, the simple answer is to do, well, not actually do nothing, but it's pretty much do nothing. Yeah. If you anybody gets sick from this from anything at this point, the best thing you can do is to stop eating. Yeah, stop eating and rest. It's all about energy allocation. Yeah.
Being in the sun.
What about being in the sun?
The rays from the sun.
Oh, say that again. Say that again.
The rays from the sun are like. Well, I made a video like they're like food.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's always good to be in the sun, but some people, especially of a certain bloodline, the sun isn't their friend. But for others, the sun energizes them.
Did you want to say something?
Yes, I want to tell you, yesterday I was speaking with the sun. I was driving very fast and I want to see the picture, the sunset. And I speak with the sun and I tell him, please wait for me, wait. And I drive and I'm looking at the sun when I was driving, and he tell me I'm waiting. So I get in the time and I picture the sun and I was so happy. And today also I picture the sunset and I make the sun rising, and I want to tell you and share with you, it's so beautiful, sun rising. And
yeah, that's my favorite time of the day, sunrise, when the light starts coming, the dawn. Oh, it's yeah, so beautiful. Just to explain, Dave, that Yudit's usually at the beach nearly every day, sunrise, sunset.
yes,
Filming it.
yes, and I want to share with you because it's I speak with the nature in the moment I wake up. I watch the nature. I listen to the bird. I watch the color of the light outside. I see everything the nature show me, and I speak with the nature all day. And I think people they forget to do this. They forget, and they stay in the computer and at home, and they don't speak with the nature. They don't go in outside. So yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of feeling a bit guilty about doing that myself. I live out in the country, and yeah, it's quite beautiful. But you know, I'm working on my website at the moment, so I've just spent the last few days as locked away when these beautiful days have been going past. So yeah, I know.
It's like that when you're a researcher, isn't it? Unless you're outside with a laptop or an iPad or something, you're sat at your computer, which is indoors.
Yeah, I've missed a lot of summers.
Yeah.
But it's a way we can communicate with each other, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, pretty much. Especially with me, I'm a bit out the way, out the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, it's kind of a lifeline, and I hate to admit it.
Yeah, I want to say, Karen, sorry. I want to say, you speak about the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and what I remember the most in this movie, it's when the old lady asked Neo, "Do you know what is wrote on the wall?" So he
No.
said, "You know yourself."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. So this is the motive of life.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
This is what Seerle speak about. This is what Santos speak about. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very important. And yeah, this is for me has been a journey of knowing myself.
Yeah, I think I've just written some words down. Know yourself, see yourself, be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not really geared up to be like that, though, are we? In this, whatever we're living in, it's not meant to be like that, though. We don't even realise what people know what our language means.
Well, this is the thing. We enter this society, and we know nothing. You know, we're not taught about where we came from. You know, we're not taught about the point of life. You know, and you know the point of life is known and it's out there, but we're not taught about it. We're not told about anything apart from this fake society, the fake existence in this fake society. Which can't last very long. It doesn't last very long. This type of lifestyle, yeah. It's it lasts for something like you know, was it 120 years? But it's been propped up just lately to last over a couple of hundred. But yeah, this type of society doesn't last that long. So you know, we're coming to the end of it.
But it is just like the story with the emperor's clothing.
Exactly. You know, everyone. We've got a whole set of things that we're all supposed to pretend are good and you know and beneficial and everything. But we all know, even in the back of our minds, that that you know it's all shit, really. You know. I was having a little, not a discussion, but a friend of mine posted about some new car, you know, that he was lusting over, and I was saying, dude, it's just a car, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what shape it is, you know, it might be a pleasing shape and everything, but it's just a car. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just a car. It's just
because other things
you need
more
to
important, don't they?
That's it.
Yeah, it's just like, dude. Does it go? Does it? When you press the pedal down, does it go? Well, that's all you need. It's but I know where he's coming from, because I was in that same mode at one point, that lusting after cars and thinking, oh, a Ferrari, I want a Ferrari. No, I want a Lamborghini. I want this, but at the end of the day, it's all meaningless. It's all there to distract you, to keep you interested in worthless, meaningless things.
Yeah, well, different things are more important nowadays.
Different things were always important. It's just that, a long time ago, we didn't know.
My main aim is to get us more communicating, because it just seems that all this has been left to the people. We don't have very much money, all of us, but it's been left to us to start, going out there and trying to promote the truth and getting us to communicate, talk together. I mean, you coming on this hangout has drawn a load of people together this evening, a load of people watching, a load of people understanding more. And this is what I want for everyone.
Well, communicating is one thing, and that's all very nice, but what's more important is doing. Yeah. When you find out about stuff, when you learn things, you've got to apply them into your life. You've got to actually make changes to your life and move forward with it, with this new knowledge. If you don't, then it's wasted effort. It's just so once you learn these things, you've got to apply them and move on with it. And sometimes those changes you have to make are drastic ones, because this society doesn't want you to live any way other than the way that society has prescribed you to live. You must live in a house, you must get a job, you must have a car, you must do this, you must do that. Yeah. Anything outside of that is frowned upon, and then anything that's even further outside of that is usually made illegal. So this is the thing. Every change that you make when you learn these things it usually means something a drastic change, and a lot of people aren't ready or willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, when you find out like the real importance of crystals, so what they do is, hippies like those crystals, and crystals then are sort of, for a lot of people, well, I can't like them because hippies like them. How they refer to things, but crystals are really important, and they're all to do with free energy, and and I just think how it gets labelled.
I think crystals are important stuff, but I don't think they're important in some ways, but not. Sorry.
Like everything has been put the wrong way. Like crystals aren't, they're good things. They should have been more promoted.
Yeah.
So
I've just found a thing with crystals. I accidentally found it. Being a single bloke and all, I had a tomato left over from a salad, and I left it on the side next to my crystals. And I noticed it a week later, and I went to pick it up and thought, oh, bloody hell, that's still firm. I could probably eat that. So I've left it there another 2 weeks, and it's still firm, and I think I could eat it. And I'm just wondering now if crystals have some kind of, what's the word, storing properties. I can't think of a proper word for it.
That's a good word.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm wondering if it will help to keep stuff fresh, to be honest. And it's an experiment I'm going to try on a larger scale at some point when I've got a few more crystals.
Well, I reckon you should eat the tomato and see if you throw up.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I will. I mean, yeah, I practice what I preach. Like I say, I wouldn't have tried urine therapy, to be fair, if I wasn't willing to try some pretty strange things. Right. So yeah.
Well, now I'm probably going to have to go now, because I've been here in this place for a good 2.5 hours now.
With other people watching you, or you just don't mind about things like that.
Don't usually mind, but getting funny looks now.
I'm still hoping to arrange that other hangout again, Dave. You know, the one where you were there with Mark Sargent and that, another one. You still...
I lost the last bit. Am I still...
You still in for that one? If I arrange another one like we had a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can get something a bit more permanent, you know, some way of connecting better than here. But yes, I'm on for it.
Thank you so much. And it's been a real pleasure. Really enjoyed you talking.
Oh, the pleasure's been all mine.
Today, before he goes?
I just want to thank you very much for stopping by, Dave. I wish you all the best until we meet again. Thanks for supporting our group, Sun and the Moon. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks, Dave. I mean, most people in chat seem really appreciative. Obviously, we've had a few people, you know, the usual. But yeah, no, on the whole, like I said, it's been really positive in chat. So again, yeah, thank you.
Shout out for all my trolls.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you pick up on is you're quite a peaceful man. You're a very peaceful person. You know, in the world we live in, doesn't seem to be many of them. So that's...
From the looks of things, Dave, all your admirers showed up tonight, so it should mean something to you. We had a lot of big people in our chat tonight, so...
Oh, that's good.
Said nothing but kind things about you.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Tricia, do you want to say anything?
Okay, so...
yeah, sorry, we're holding you up now.
Yes, I'll say...
Ta-ta for now.
Say bye to everyone.
Thank you so
Shalom,
Take care.
Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Give him a big group hug. Group hug.
Yes, yes.
Group hug.
There you go.
Fantastic.
All right, see you guys later.
Hey, Dave, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ooh. I hope everybody in the chat room enjoyed that. Oh no, the camera's on me now.
Yeah.
So,
Because you're
do we want to talk? Yeah, do you want to talk for 10 more minutes? But I think maybe we'll finishing the hangout then. Because we've been on a lot of hangouts this week and it's already about 3 hours. Wasn't that nice that he stayed 3 hours, about 3 hours?
Yeah, no, that was really good, and yeah, he had a lot to say as well, which was good. So, like I say, very, very interesting hangout tonight. In total, I'd say.
Yeah, if you imagine, I think he was sitting. Wasn't he sitting in a pub?
Oh,
yeah, I think he went down his local. He said because he needed to get the Wi-Fi or something. So yeah. So, as we're finishing, does anybody want to talk about this evening? Talk about anything else in this last little bit? What's the time now? I have to put my glasses on. It's terrible. It's 10 to 11.
Yeah. So if we talk for another 10 minutes, winding up. Billy, have you got anything to say?
I really liked Siri's presentation last night. I think a lot of people are starting to understand and they're starting to see how that possibly could be our reality, which we already know that it is. I'm glad that people are being patient and allowing us to give our side of the story on things. And it's worth the look. And once you realize that our skies and our heavens are hyperdimensional, just meaning more than 3 dimensions, that's how everyone has a local sun over their head. This is observed with your eyes, and we just put it together. And I'm really pleased with the turnout last night and tonight. And I'd like to thank all the people that come. And we have fun. We try to keep our chat clean. We try to keep the panel clean. And, we just want to go over information. I want to thank Karen for arranging all this. She does a lot of hard work, putting things together, getting some guests, and it's really good. So
yeah, I heard what he said about, there's listening and there's doing. Not everybody's going to do, but there's such a hole, and I was just hoping that on these hangouts people will see that we've got to start somewhere, haven't we? and we've just put Series' work out. So this is the beginning. I'm just hoping things will change somehow. I haven't quite worked it all out yet, but the first bit is to make sure that more of these bigger YouTubes, members of our group, people who are into this field, we all start talking more together and having hangouts.
That's part of the doing as well.
That's part of it, because it'd be nice for us to. Yeah, it'd be nice for us all to sit in a big hall somewhere and break bread and have a meal and have a drink together. But we all live in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And this is the only way we can get together and bounce ideas off of each other and learn from one another. So this is just as part of a doing than anything. And like I said the other night, social media is such a big part in our lives. This is a way to reach people. And the more we can reach, that's all we're trying to do. Keep it flat,
The point about like us having these hangouts is to say that it is here. It's just hopefully going to grow and grow and grow. It breaks out into the bigger world, I suppose, in the news and stuff like that, and we're talking about it. But for now, I just want to get as many people together. Maybe I'm a bit naive, but that's what I hope. More of us come together by getting more information through these hangouts, understanding more, seeing other people's work like Series, and losing that problem. I don't like the arguing, infighting. It's got to stop and come together.
I would agree. And I think you're doing your part on bringing people together. You bring a variety of guests on your shows. It's a learning experience here. And I know when I first came to your channel, I was welcomed with open arms, and I love it here. That's why I keep coming back.
Oh, you're a part of it now, Billy, aren't you?
Yes, and I thank you for allowing me to be that part too. So.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you. Series, because we're gonna close soon, aren't we? But or stop broadcasting, whatever the words is. I'm not very good at this, am I? Series, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed with what Dave brought tonight. There's a lot of new direction in that sense of where it can go as well in our knowledge search, our own health in this case, and some parts of history. Yeah, it was really a great night.
It was. I think someone.
Well, I should say in chat, Karen, people are saying big thanks to you for putting like these hangouts together and stuff, and they're just saying it's a nice hangout to be at and stuff. So
and also
good to hear that people saying that, and
you keep it nice as well, don't you, Dee?
Well, I tried to tonight.
Really
I have been a bit distracted because I've got my brother here, so I have been a bit distracted. So everyone in chat, I do apologise. I've not been as active as normal,
Thank
and
you,
hopefully that will resume in the future.
Who's in the chat room then, Dee?
Well, we've had loads. I mean, Stealthy 300's just joined us. I know I've spoken to you about him in the past. That's Neil. He's put some really nice songs out. So anybody in the chat, please go check out Stealthy. I mean, we've had Globebusters, Marilyn Winsby, Dave Marsh is in there, Tara Sunshine. I mean, there's just been so many people. Jamie Brown, Flat Earth Dave, Wake the Sheeple, Dave Rosher, John Sharp, Experimental Vaccines, Gravity Sucks, Night Angel. I mean, there's literally been absolutely loads of people. I mean, it's been buzzing.
Yeah.
Was Michael Tellinger in the chat? Someone said, Karen, be nice.
Oh, I must have missed that. If he was, that would have been really nice if he was in there.
Yeah. But he's enjoyed. Did you enjoy that as well then? I'm sure you did.
You're absolutely right, Karen. I'm enjoy always.
Yeah. It's not the end, by the way, because he's agreed to come back, and will ask Mark Sargent. We had Dave. I will ask these people back on another hangout I'll arrange that one for a few weeks' time. So that'll be good, won't it? I just want these people. Maybe at the moment we're left with talking about everything, and series isn't in a rush. Understand his research. It doesn't matter how many times we go over it. The more people who understand it, the better. So we're not in a rush.
And good thing
right,
on flow anyway. So why rush it?
Yeah. Patricia, you've got anything to say?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed tonight. I mean, I've just loved having these hangouts, whether they're live or not. I mean, it's just I can't explain it in words, but it's just been brilliant. I was just wondering, did we have a hangout with allegedly Dave and Santos? Because somebody in the chat mentioned to get them two on together, but I'm sure they've already been on together, haven't they?
But they were in the hangout with that Saturday one.
A couple of weeks ago.
Dave Nesbitt, Mark Sargent, Oliver Ludlow, allegedly Dave.
Thank
they
you,
were all
Billy.
together.
Yeah,
but I thought that.
Quiet later on. He let everybody else talk for a while.
Yeah, I thought he'd been on with one, but with Santos and that.
What happened was Santos had some problems connecting, and allegedly Dave was on, and he was the first one to leave the show. And by the time Santos got on, David already had left, but that's okay. So, but they were on together, and they interacted a little bit. And so Santos let Dave talk first, and then Santos came on later. So that's what happened with that show.
Yeah. I just thought I'd mention that because somebody in the chat had said to get them two on together, but I thought they already had. But anyway, yeah, it's been a brilliant night.
Arrange this other one because obviously it's a bit like you could ask them to come on every night. They've got their own lives and they're busy. I'm just pleased that Dave's come back a few times and he's prepared to come on this other hangout. So that's great. So I'll arrange that and I'll ask him because Santos is lovely. So, I mean, most people don't realise in the chat room or whatever, but Santos has been with us for months. He's been having hangouts with us. It's just we didn't go live. So we've been talking to him for a long time, and he's been on our journey. Yeah, he's a lovely man. I ask him, he usually says yes. But anyway, Dee, anything else to say from the chat room, or because we're going to finish in a minute?
No, it's just been general chat, really. I mean, obviously, as people starting to mention a few of the meets and stuff now. So, I mean, there's obviously we got the Blackpool meet. I think that's on the 8th of July. I don't think I'm going to make it to that one. And there's the meet on the 22nd in Leamington Spa that I will be making it to.
And also, there's the UK's first Flat Earth Conference next year, April in Birmingham, which will be.
I was going to mention that at the end, but yeah, there's also you've got the FE UKers are having a meet in Tor Point in Cornwall on the 28th to the 1st of August, and yeah, next year obviously we've got the 2018 International UK Conference, and that's going to be in Birmingham, and I believe that's the 21st of April and the 22nd are the main 2 days.
Brilliant. And we're helping, aren't we?
Yeah, we're doing our best to help, but it's Gary John who's doing all the work there. Yeah, Gary John, very big shout out to him. He's really, really putting everything into this.
Worked really hard. And most people don't know that, say, 2 months ago, there was nothing, and he's managed to do all this in 2 months. It'll be explained a little bit more because I'm going to have a little hangout with him to promote the UK Flat Earth Conference. So that will come up shortly. So, should we say goodnight to everyone? So you've got to come back, and Patricia and Yudit. We've got to have a group hug. Hugs, everybody.
So far, I figured if it wasn't for Karen, nothing has happened. Had happened anyway. Let's see what she.
Oh, but it's all you as well, isn't it? Without you, there's nothing.
We all need a leader, and you're our leader, Karen. Take me to your leader.
Yeah, but my whole thing is it's not really about me. It's about you and our guests and the chat room. It's about everyone else.
Yeah, spreading it around and bringing people together.
It's
We
about
know that, but
bringing the
we
whole
still have
thing
to have
together.
a
You know?
leader.
We all know it, and we all want it. And the only thing we can do is support it.
What would I do without you lot now?
Nothing.
You'd be bored, wouldn't you?
And the other way around, we wouldn't do anything without you.
No.
I mean,
Exactly.
Right, I'm gonna have to
And
give a
you,
big hug
Series,
now
as
because my
well.
brother's going now, so I'm gonna have to go and see him out. So
Okay,
big hugs to
we're
all,
finished. Should we have a
and
group
I'm
hug
gonna drop
then?
off, and I'll catch everyone next time. Bye, bye, all in
Love you
chat.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Good night, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's hangout with us and allegedly Dave and the Sun and Moon group. And I'm sure we'll be back very soon, maybe tomorrow or the next day. So see you soon.